for that, online people. Toronto is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabeg, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis. Let's continue to recognize and deeply appreciate the historic connection of Indigenous peoples to this place as we move forward in the spirit of reconciliation. Now, a bit of housekeeping before we get to the fun part. For people joining us online and in person, please note that recording is in progress and there may be photography and videography taking place at this event. Captioning is available for people joining in online, and they're welcome to turn that on using Microsoft Teams. And if you're joining online, please remember to please stay muted. I'd now like to invite Damien from Microsoft to share a few words about the space that we are here today.
All right, thank you, Varun, and everyone. Please hold your claps. That's okay. Sorry, just had to do a little joke. But first and foremost, really, thank you all for being here today. Thank you, Varun and Access to Success, for hosting this year's cohort and demo days for ATS Labs. Incredibly excited to be here, and as some of you know, at Microsoft, we very much pride and take value in accessibility as part of our journey, and to empower everyone and every organization on the planet to achieve more. So being here in front of all of you really is quite the surreal experience. So thank you all for coming out today. As Varun mentioned, a couple of housekeepings is, I think there will be a little bit of networking afterwards as well. So in this general vicinity, there are a couple other events happening as well in the neighboring rooms. I would say that this area is kind of focused on there, but feel free to socialize. We have that little fire pits as well, but behind. And last but not least, just a little plug is we have very coincidentally in 2 weeks on December 13th, we do have a webinar coming up, particularly focused on our outside partner ecosystem, but also amazing organizations such as yourselves, talking a lot about big newsflash of the year, AI, but also specifically going on GitHub Copilot and accessibility, and really having those discussions and dialogues. So the link that you can register and do that for is at the bottom of the screen right now, but it's also aka.ms/copilot accessibility. Would love to see you all join virtually on that as well, and potentially even get more involved with us on our journey towards innovation, accessible innovation, but creating a barrier-free Canada and tomorrow. So with that being said, I'll pass the mic back to Varun, and thank you all.
Thank you, Damien. Before we continue, let me just check some stuff for the folks joining us online. It seems they can't see the screens. Folks, can you see the screens? No? Okay, give me a second. Joys of doing this hybrid. Let's see. How about now? People joining us online. I see some thumbs up. There we go. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate it. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. So, why are we here today? We are here today because I'm the founder and president of Access to Success, which is a not-for-profit that runs Canada's only accelerator for accessibility startups. I do this because I'm hard of hearing, and I use live captioning and lip reading and a hearing aid. And when I was going through the pandemic, live captioning changed my life because I lip read, and during the pandemic, people were wearing masks. And when they wear masks, I can't lip read, which means I couldn't communicate. Technology like live captioning has changed my life. And I do this because I want to help other entrepreneurs working on these other technologies that make lives better for people with disabilities. That's why my entire team is committed to doing what we do. We're a very small team. We're a very passionate team. So I appreciate your patience with any technical issues today. But I also want to take a second to mention that the entrepreneurs that I've worked with over the years, before they go through ATS Labs and after they go through ATS Labs, they consistently come back to us and share how they consistently have experiences where the industry does not understand the world of accessibility innovation. They consistently hear it's not scalable. You're never going to make any money. You're building a charity. They consistently hear you're not fundable. They consistently hear, I see a lot of nodding heads here, and it's heartbreaking. This is why we do what we do. This is why we have this space here today for all of you entrepreneurs, all of you builders who are out there trying to change the world. And please know that ATS Labs and Access to Success believes in what you're building. We understand what you're building, and we want to help you build what you want to build through programming, mentorship, network, resources, and community. We provide 3 months of tailor-made programming that is specifically designed to help accessibility startups scale. Those training, those sessions, and those mentorship is provided by over 200 mentors and speakers from over 10 countries, all of whom understand the world of accessibility innovation and who've built things themselves. We're able to offer a global, expansive network of organizations because those are also organizations who understand this world. And we offer resources through these organizations. And maybe the most important piece is we offer this community of builders who understand what it's like to go through this journey. This community who understands that they don't have to do this alone, that there are others like them out here trying to change the lives of people with disabilities for the better. And we try and help them connect with each other. So with that, what have we done? This is a lot of stuff that I'm talking about. What have we really done? Well, over the years, we've received 80 applications from accessibility startups from 19 countries across 5 continents. We've had over 200 mentors and speakers go through and participate in and speak at our programs, over 120 sessions, over 4 cohorts starting from 2019. We've ultimately helped 45 startups that have officially gone through our program and dozens more with whom we just work with because we believe in them. Those 45 plus startups have raised over $13 million in funding to date. They've generated over $3 million in revenues. And here's the most important part. To date, they've benefited over 500,000 people with disabilities to date. We can't do this alone. As I said, we do this with a community of people, with a community of organizations, and with a community of sponsors. I'm proud to say that our proud sponsor is CIBC, and I would thank them and let them know that we couldn't do this without you. Harry and Tim, who can't join us today, special shout out to you for believing in us and for giving us the support that we need to be able to do what we do. And now I would like to invite Maria Gregory, who is the Senior Director of Client Experience at CIBC. Maria is a proven business leader and brand builder in the healthcare, financial services, and not-for-profit sectors, including the Canadian Hearing Services. She is currently the Senior Director of Client Experience at CIBC and has oversight for accessibility across the enterprise. Maria is responsible for enhancing the employee and client experience for seniors and persons with disabilities and promoting a culture of accessibility at CIBC. She was also a silver medalist and women's 8+ rowing at the 1996 Olympic Games. Fanboy moment right here. Maria, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And it's a pleasure to be here. And I have to say, I completely relate to you on the experience of mask wearing. I too wear hearing aids. And through COVID, definitely the technology and the enablement of Microsoft Teams meetings and other such tools have really improved accessibility for me. So that's certainly stuff, and everything that's going on here with entrepreneurs is really near and dear to my heart. CIBC and Access to Success have been in partnership since 2020. It's a great match for us. We are very focused on accessibility and disability inclusion. And so it's wonderful to know that we're here to talk about innovative solutions, the innovation that we do now in our partnerships, such as Magnus Mode, Access Now, and Access to Success, all important partnerships for us as we further and help those 500,000 people plus with improving their lives and making it easy for them to do things every day. Varun actually came to one of our meetings this year in June. We have an accessibility action committee and we meet monthly. And in that meeting, all of our members were so inspired to hear of the great progress you're making. And I see, the impact you spell it out well. MBA coming to good use, of course, in telling us all about the number of people impacted. And so I think that inspiration and the continued partnership here is something that we all hold dear. So I guess I'm thrilled to be able to be here to watch and learn about the innovation and the entrepreneurs that are going to be sharing their stuff today. So I hope to see what's coming. And thank you very much for having us and being a partner with us.
We're very lucky that Mario and CIBC are not our only supporters and our only collaborators. I'm proud to say that this year we welcome for the first time a new collaborator, CBC Radio Canada. And thank you, CBC Radio Canada, for believing. We also have amazing supporters like not just Microsoft, but also Dentons who've been supporting our startups across the years. So thank you, Microsoft, for giving us this amazing space. Damien, for our patience with our many questions about this setup, and to Dentons for all of the life-saving, startup-saving answers that they provided to our startups over the years. Special thanks also to the Canadian Hearing Services, from where you see our interpreters joining us today. Matt Chapman, who's a partner at Torcus Partners and the only individual contributor to our organization across the years so far, and the Mars Discovery District. Give it up for all of our supporters and friends. Now, we've heard enough about Access to Success, and I know you're eager to hear from people other than me. And so it is my great pleasure to next invite Lianna Genovese, who's the CEO and founder of Imaginable Solutions, a Hamilton-based startup. At the age of 19, Lianna invented Guided Hands, the company's international award-winning assistive device that enables people with limited hand mobility to write, paint, draw, and access technology. Now, at the age of 24, Lianna and her team have sold the product across the world to leading hospitals, rehabilitation centers, schools, and families. She has also received over 30 international awards for her invention, including the James Dyson Engineering Award, the Arthritis Society People's Choice Award, and was recently named Forbes 30 Under 30 for her impact in the disability space. She just so also happens to be an ATS Labs alumna and the winner of our 2021 Demo Day. Lianna, welcome.
Hi, everyone. It's an honor to be here with you all today to share our story and how ATS Labs changed my life. So I'd like you all to mimic the motions I make with my hand. Open and close your hand, move your wrist around, wiggle your fingers. This is what it feels like to have full mobility in your hand and arm. And not everybody has that. Meet Elijah, a 10-year-old boy with cerebral palsy. In this video, I ask him to write his name, but he struggles to write the first letter because he experiences limited control in his hand and arm. Elijah's not able to express himself. This slows his start to learning in school, and he's not able to develop the necessary sensory and cognitive skills that every child needs to grow. So I created Guided Hands, an assistive device that enables people with limited hand mobility to write, paint, draw, and access technology through touchscreen devices and keyboards. It uses a mechanical sliding system that promotes the individual to use the gross motor skills in the shoulder rather than using the poor fine motor skills in the hand. Now, my mission behind Guided Hands was to improve quality of life through enabling self-expression, communication, and the development of sensory motor skills. Now, I actually created the first prototype of Guided Hands for my friend Alyssa while studying biomedical and mechanical engineering at McMaster University. She mentioned to me that she loved painting, But as her condition progressed, she wasn't able to hold on to a paintbrush anymore. So I created the first prototype of guided hands for Alyssa. It was made out of pipe cleaner, straws, and a sponge, put her at the forefront of the design thinking process, and I later created a prototype that enabled her to paint again. And after seeing her paint, I knew I had to help others like her. So I tested in our community, and that's when I met Bella, a little girl with cerebral palsy at McMaster Children's Hospital. And as soon as she painted, the widest smile spread across her face. She turned to her mom and said, "Mom, I want one." And then the mom turned to me and asked, "How much is it?" And at that point, the thought of selling this never crossed my mind. I only had one prototype at the time, and this was just a passion project. But in that moment, I realized that this was exactly what I had to do. And I created something that could impact someone's life. So a week later, and when I became of age, 19, I incorporated Imaginable Solutions. And I didn't have any business background, just a passion to help others. And I learned business the hardest way, but the best way, by learning by doing, getting back up from my failures and mistakes, and surrounding myself with people who are smarter than me. And I'm so proud to say that our team has sold guided hands across the world to leading hospitals, rehabilitation centers, schools, and to families across Canada, the US, and 13 countries overseas. This is just a snapshot of the impact that we're making. So I want to introduce you to Jeff. He is a loyal Toronto Maple Leafs fan. He's using guided hands to play a game of wordscapes and communicate with us, which is so important because he's nonverbal. On the left is Mila. She's a little girl with cerebral palsy using guided hands at Smile Therapy for Kids here in Toronto during her occupational therapy. And on the right is Annabelle. She's using guided hands to play a game of solitaire during her recreational programming at her nursing home. So Guided Hands is an international award-winning product, and I've had the honor to travel across North America to create awareness on disability innovation and accessibility startups. And I could not have done this without the support from ATS Labs in the community that I was able to build as one of the startups in the incubator. It's been amazing connecting with mentors and advisors who are actually in the accessibility space, connections that I would not have been able to make otherwise. And, I know that everyone's pitching today, but no matter what happens, you are all in such a fantastic space, changing real lives. So I'm just so excited to see all the awesome technology that is going to make such an impact in our world. And when I was actually presenting during demo day, one of our first investors was in the audience. So you never know who's out there. So definitely network. But throughout my entire journey, I consistently doubted myself, but the community that I created at ATS Labs inspired me, motivated me, and helped me overcome challenges and barriers that I never thought I could get past. So a massive thank you to Varun for creating this fantastic organization and bringing us all together today. Thank you for supporting Imaginable Solutions and helping us make the impact that we've always dreamed of. Thank you.
So next up, Lianna is going to take over and continue today's conversation. We're just going to adjust the volume of this mic a little bit before we do that. And there we go. Is that a bit better? I see people nodding. Thank you. And let me just make one more quick adjustment here for Teams.
So it's my honor to introduce Stephanie Cadieux to the stage. So she is the Chief Accessibility Officer of Canada. She's a longtime advocate for accessibility, disability inclusion, and diversity with more than 15 years of experience in planning and leadership roles. A former elected member of the Legislative Assembly of British Columbia, she is a member of the disability community possessing extensive lived experience in government and as a person with a disability. So I'd like to welcome Stephanie for a few remarks.
Thank you and good afternoon, everybody. So my name is Stephanie Cadieux. I am a slightly over middle-aged woman with dark hair. It is currently short. I am wearing lightly rimmed glasses today and a leopard print jacket. My pronouns are she and her. It's exciting for me to be here today and to see all of the innovative ideas that we're going to be exposed to. And to say a few words about the Accessible Canada Act and where accessibility is headed. These are exciting times, and so much change lies ahead. A little background, first on why this is kind of cool to me. It's also way back at the beginning of my career, I actually started an online retail business in 1999, which arguably was a couple of years too early for the Canadian market. But I had a good time doing it, and I have an entrepreneurial spirit, so I am very much a fan of those of you who take that risk. But a little bit of background. So my role was created in 2019 with the passage of the Accessible Canada Act. The role is a legislated role, and I was appointed to the job in April of 2022. My mandate is to act as a special independent advisor to the minister responsible for the Accessible Canada Act and monitor how the implementation of the act is going, whether or not we're making the progress we need to, whether or not there are areas that need more attention, and what's happening elsewhere, what's happening in the private sector, what's happening internationally that could impact positively, negatively what we do in Canada. The Act also created two other roles. One is the organization Accessibility Standards Canada that will research and set standards for accessibility that may also be recommended to the minister to be put into regulation, which means become law. And the Accessibility Commissioner. The Accessibility Commissioner is the one responsible for enforcing the Act and its regulations. And I can tell you this as a former legislator. The Accessible Canada Act represents a major commitment by our government. The goal is a barrier-free Canada by 2040. Some of the changes need to happen faster than others, and some of them will happen faster than others. As a person with a disability, I want it all to have happened 30 years ago. So the pace of change is not nearly where I would like it to be, and I am as impatient as anyone else to see us move forward. But the Act prioritizes 7 areas where barriers have to be removed: the built environment, employment, information and communication technology, communications other than ICT, the procurement of goods, services, and facilities, the design and delivery of programs and services, and transportation. Many of these priorities overlap and inform one another, and ultimately by addressing all of them, that seamless interaction with our environment and our communities will emerge. Now, the ACA only applies to the federal government and federally regulated entities in the private sector. So that's banks, airlines, telecoms. But I can tell you, a barrier-free Canada, the goal of the Act, goes much further and will require provinces, communities, and the private sector broadly to come along on the journey. Because there is no doubt we need and expect that as citizens we can interact with our federal government in an accessible way. I don't wake up in the morning looking forward to interact with the federal government, but I do look forward to going to a restaurant with friends or taking in a hockey game as a good Canadian, or going to the mall or a hotel for a vacation. And if we don't do all of those things, if we don't make all of those experiences inclusive and accessible, then we will not have an accessible country. So this means, though, as we move forward and as organizations now have to create plans to proactively determine what the barriers are in their organization and remove them, they're going to be looking for solutions. They're going to find out all sorts of things they didn't know, and they're going to have problems to solve. That means there's going to be markets for the products and services that you are developing, have in the back of your mind an inkling and a desire to find a solution for. Internationally, the European Union Accessibility Act, the EU Accessibility Act, is going to accelerate, I would say, the pace of change for many Canadian and global companies who want to do business in and with the EU as it relates especially in the world of ICT. But accessibility is a conversation that is burgeoning outside of Canada too. And I've been involved in a number of conversations internationally over the last year alone, where I am energized by the fact that this is now the topic of conversation. It means that Canadian entrepreneurs are going to also have to keep up with what's happening outside of our borders. The opportunities are massive. The global marketplace is changing rapidly. AI is going to revolutionize and speed up more what we know and don't know is in our future. There is no reason for accessibility to lag behind in that pace of change. Change can happen in any sector, and we should expect and demand change and progress in accessibility. It can't be an afterthought. In my role inside government, I am now acting as a challenger, a champion, and a convener. And the language I'm using when I'm talking to organizations is that accessibility can't be an afterthought. Accessibility is as essential as heat and lights. If it's not accessible, it's not done. That's a culture shift. So as the requirements move along, as regulations are set, the demand for accessible products is going to increase. Those responsible for procurement are going to have to figure out how to procure accessible products. They're going to have to find suppliers who understand and value accessibility. Products that haven't been designed with accessibility in mind will no longer be competitive. We do need those accessibility regulations, not only because they're the right thing to do, but because it's critical for our economy to remain globally competitive. In many areas, I would say the private sector is ahead of government. And we will also have to keep pace with that. The work you're doing, the ideas, the innovation, all of it is going to help move the needle and inspire that culture change that is so essential. With the new products and new ideas, we change the world. Here we all are with our personal portable digital devices. You can see people using theirs right now. A few decades ago, that was unimaginable. And only because of the innovation, in many cases, of people with disabilities, we have tools like texting and captions that everyone now sees as essential. Necessity is the mother of invention. The fact is that the need for accessibility has driven that change. And people with disabilities are innovators by necessity, not design. So there's a lot that still needs to be done. There is a long way to go in so many areas, but you're working on the cutting edge. Because your products are accessible, you will have an automatic advantage in the go forward world because you're not going to leave out that 22% of the market. The bottom line is if a product's not accessible, as I said, then it isn't finished in my mind. No matter how flashy the marketing is. Really smart products are going to start with an accessibility lens, whether that be a product or service for a bank, a hotel, or a computer. They're those products that have had that design thinking, that accessibility thinking from the beginning are going to be the most sought after products on the market. You stand to help put Canada on the map as a leader in accessible products. So I want to congratulate you all on being here, on your innovations, on the important work that you're doing. And to any and all potential investors, I challenge you all to look for accessibility in everything that you look to invest in, because it's where the profits are ultimately going to be. But it's also the right thing to do, and we need leadership now as much as we ever have. So thank you very much. I'm really excited to see where we go this afternoon.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. When she said, if a product's not accessible, it's not done, I like instantly got goosebumps. So that was wonderful. Okay, so we're going to do a panel discussion. So I want to welcome Jason Brommet to the stage. He's the lead of Microsoft's modern work and service business for the Americas. He oversees productivity platforms such as M365, Copilot, Microsoft Teams, employee experience platforms, including Microsoft Viva, and the first-party Surface hardware business. Jay is an advocate for technology enabling inclusivity and accessibility, and leads Microsoft's commercial accessibility initiative across the Americas. So I want to welcome Jay.
Thank you so much, Leanne. I'm actually virtual today, unfortunately. Can you hear me in the room? I just want to make sure, yeah, thumbs up.
Awesome. Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, both of you, for being here. So we're going to have a bit of a back and forth questions just to understand some perspectives about the accessibility industry. So my first question is actually to Stephanie. As the Chief Accessibility Officer of Canada, what are your primary goals and initiatives for enhancing accessibility nationwide?
It's a great question, but it's so big. And I actually struggle with it. Because I have a mandate, I have to provide a report to the minister. That's my job. My job is to tell the minister what's going on. But my own personal priorities, maybe not totally aligned. But that said, in my year and a half in the job so far, I would say that the excitement internationally and in our country around these issues of accessibility and the conversation, the fact that we're having the conversation, is really energizing. And it's setting a tone for how we have the conversation about accessibility. It's influencing conversations at the federal provincial level in ways that I haven't seen collaboration happen before. As a former member of those federal provincial tables, quite often they are a meeting of messages, but not really true collaboration. And on this file, the conversation is very much, how do we align? What are you doing? What can we copy? And that's a really positive place to be. But I'm also seeing there's a lot of education that still needs to be done. In the immediate short term, it's to maintain the momentum that we've got with the establishment of our roles. We have to keep reminding people that accessibility is not a one and done. It's not a checklist. It's a culture shift. And it's still it's still a wake up moment when I say it's 22% of the population. It's 22% of every market segment. It's not a separate market. It's 22% of all of your employees, whether they identify or not. It's 22%. So I did recently finish my first annual report, and it's currently going through the processes for release. So in January, that will come out, and I would ask and encourage you to read it, to share it, to follow along, to add commentary as we go forward, because this is an all of us effort.
Absolutely, thank you. Jay, how does Microsoft work with startups and innovators to integrate accessibility into its products?
Awesome question, Leanna. And by way of I'll say visual introduction for those that may prefer. I'm a white middle-aged male, today wearing a bright pink, I'll say top of the sweater, a wine-colored bottom of sweater, and blue glasses. And as I started to say, opted to dial in from home today, not feeling 100%, and so I wanted to make sure that I protected all of us. One, what a great question. Obviously, moments like today and the venue of all of you collected in our head office here in Toronto is one of those great examples of how we engage with the community. For us, it is frankly how we create this organic, natural growth of innovation across Canada that is so important to the future of Canada. As a born and raised Canadian, while my business responsibilities take us beyond the borders, I'm super proud about the innovation that comes from within the country. And so how we connect with, collaborate, obviously with communities and organizations like Access to Success is absolutely one of those pillars. The second, directly, is Microsoft. We also lead very strategically, I'll call it, programs around driving innovation. And AI for accessibility is probably one that I would highlight right out of the gates. We actually just put forward an open tender for a number of proposals in a number of categories where we see opportunities in the markets that we serve across the globe, as well as Canada, where we don't see enough innovation, where we see incredible opportunities to push the ecosystem to go further. And so I think about it as this balance, which is one, how do we connect organically, come together around this common passion that we all have for technology and its capabilities to address some of the most unsolvable challenges. But the second is about how we be strategically intentional about spurring innovation in the places that we think we have more to go do, as Stephanie said so eloquently.
That's wonderful to hear that, especially with AI being integrated into making things more accessible. That's really wonderful. So this is a question to both of you. So what role do you believe accessibility startups and the innovation ecosystem have to play in achieving the goal of a barrier-free Canada by 2030? Maybe we'll start with you, Jay.
Sure. Listen, Stephanie alluded to it, and I've had the wonderful pleasure of now having a number of conversations with Stephanie. I think I've probably had 4 engagements in the last 48 hours from some of the largest universities to some of the largest technology partners. What's intrinsically true is innovation, when we think about innovation for accessibility, it creates usability for all. And when I looked at this ecosystem, you are going to chart the paths for what we need to go solve next. And alongside of it, I threw a comment in the river, which is how we work with the community collectively to identify those opportunities and then build solutions to go solve them is really what this is all about. For me, at the end of the day, I said it already, born and raised Canadian, I think there is so much innovation that exists in this country to go tackle those challenges that Stephanie articulated. There's some debate on some of this math, but let me play this one through and I'll give you a global frame of reference. So one, today it would debatably say there's 1 billion people in the world with some form of disability. I think that number is low, in all honesty, as Stephanie said, for many reasons, it is often underreported. Related to that, by 2050, math would say that there's about 1.3 billion people that will require assistive technology in some way, shape, or form. Yet today, only 4% of businesses are actually proactively thinking about it. And so as I think about the investors that sit in the room, I think about the innovators that sit in the room today, that is your moment. It is an unbelievable platform for you to grab onto to chart the path forward that Stephanie is helping to chart for the country. And so I think it's just an amazing opportunity.
Those are definitely some powerful numbers. Stephanie, I know you touched on this before, but I'd love to hear from you again.
I think new products and new innovation has power to help change culture. And we need all the innovation we can get right now. In all sorts of reasons. Our productivity as a country is not where it should be. Our accessibility and inclusion is not where it should be. So all of the powerful ideas that can come from incubators and startups and working together and collaborating and building off each other's ideas is how we achieve, I think, and arrive at the best ideas and the best products. But as I say, it also has the power to influence culture and to put pressure on everyone to level up. You are nimble.
Mhm.
Government is not. Really, it's not, in case you haven't tried. But you can help show people how it's done. You can help show what is possible. And I think that's the power that exists in this space.
That is so well said. Thank you. Okay, so again, a question for both of you. What does the Canadian ecosystem need so we can become a world leader in not just accessibility research, but also commercial scalable accessibility innovation? And maybe we'll jump back to Stephanie.
Well, I think there's two things. I'm going to go back to something I didn't cover before because I was checking on the things I was supposed to say. I'm not very good at following my notes. But I was at another event earlier this week where I was asked about how to humanize the conversation about accessibility. And I think that applies to the work that you do and very much to what you presented, Lianna, in your presentation about your company and why you developed this product and what it means to the people. To humanize the narrative, we actually have to tell the stories. People don't understand and don't really buy in from reading, we must build an accessible product on a piece of paper. Right? People don't understand what it's like for a person with a disability in the employment world to travel. I can't get a shower in Ottawa. I work in Ottawa. But hotels have built accessibility in, but they didn't check if it worked. And that's disappointing. But when I tell people I can't have a shower, they're like, what? Right? Nobody knows. I can't get a taxi either. What? Right? Because if it hasn't been your experience, why would you know? It's nobody's fault they don't know. But we have to tell them. We have to explain it to them. We have to explain why captions are important. We have to explain why we need to ensure that that's available all the time because people aren't necessarily going to tell you what they need. So I think innovation also makes for great stories and great and it spurs ideas in other people. So I think we leverage it and we support each other. But we also need more investment in it. We need more conversation, more exposure. We need the collective will, I would say, societally, to partner to accelerate and innovate. And I think you need to be shameless self-promoters. Honestly, we have to want to own the space. And as Canadians, we tend not to be very good with that. But we actually have to. The world is actually looking at us as a country. Around accessibility because for years we were seen as a leader and I believe we've fallen behind. We can get back there. We have the ability, we have the drive, but we actually have to want to own it collectively.
Storytelling is such a powerful method in accessibility and to get it out there. I know for me, when I started my company, like none of my friends even considered disability innovation or, that accessibility is so needed. So, even though I didn't have someone in my direct family who had disability, I at least knew someone. And I feel like everyone in the room knows someone. And, to be their voice, to tell their story is so powerful to, again, boost that conversation and, make it such a household term, accessibility. I feel like it's beginning to, but we need to continue that. So that's really awesome. Jay, what are your thoughts on that?
So I was going to say Stephanie stole all my thunder, but just to put maybe a little bit of weight behind the storytelling. And this is a call, and unfortunately, I can't see all of the audience in the room, but when I'll say this in this context, which is for big business, we carry a disproportionate, I'll say, responsibility to help pave the way for that storytelling. I'll say in many ways am excited by the improvements and the advancements in representation in TV commercials and things of that nature, where we're using media to represent more of who we are as humans. We are not perfect as Microsoft. The one thing that I say to every customer that I have conversations with, including one that I had this morning with one of the large universities here in Canada, Accessibility or disability inclusion is a journey. If you assume that there is an end point, you're going to fail. And we are very much on that journey as Microsoft. But we have moments that we're proud of. And on the storytelling platform, for those that don't remember Grover, which was the story of the Xbox adaptive controller that we ultimately created into a Super Bowl ad, we did that not to beat our chest. We did that to try to compel industry to think differently and to be platforms to use those venues to tell stories of the work that we can accomplish together. For me, and I think about this ecosystem, I'll say a couple of things. One, to Stephanie's comments, we need more investment. In many ways, as I think about disability inclusion, I always talk about it on two dimensions. One is the responsibility side, and Stephanie framed this incredibly well. We will have legislation, and those legislations will have enforcement. But for business, it's an opportunity. And the organizations that embrace that and they see that are going to excel. They will succeed. Data is intrinsically true that the organizations that are leading and defining leading positions are performing better. And what's also true is I look at some younger individuals in the room there, and I'm a dad. The younger generation defines what organizations they will stay at or will work for based on their positions on incredibly important issues. And so one is use your voice, because your voice will drive the change that we need to see. Not to pick on government. Government does not move fast. Industry can move faster. Innovators can move even faster than industry. And so use your voice in storytelling, in venues like this, any opportunity that you have. That being said, for each of you, be bold and be brave, right? You're going to need to go and break barriers because people, in many ways, we've not thought about these categories as being perhaps viable solutions. And Lianna, you're proof in pudding. And so incredible kudos to you on the work that you've been able to do. And I know there are other creators in the room today, but be bold and be brave to push the rest of us to make the change that we want to see.
Jay. I know that when I was going out and raising investment, I had investors say, oh, accessibility, disability space is not too sexy. It's pretty niche. And that was just, wow, like that is such a horrible thing to say. I was like, oh, I definitely don't want them as an investor. But, this space is rewarding, it's impactful. And, I'm so excited to hear everyone's storytelling today for your pitches. So with that, Stephanie, how can we increase the profile of Canadian accessibility innovators and impactful startups?
I think, we've sort of covered it, but by having events like these, by talking about it in the media, pitch to the media, pitch them. And, CBC, bravo for being a part of this. Social media, be your own voice, get your own story out. Partner and amplify each other, because it's not all about competition. It's about creating a space where everybody has power and has a voice. And push government at all levels. A lot of people never think to share their thoughts, their experiences, their business, their ideas, their needs with their elected representatives. I didn't ever think to do that before I got elected. And then after I got elected, I'm like, why won't people come and talk to me? Why won't people tell me? Your elected representatives at the city level, at the municipal or provincial level, and at the federal level actually want to hear from you. They want to know about what you're doing and what you want to see in the world. So don't be afraid to reach out to them. Yes, it takes time and energy, but it's also how we push them to do what we want.
Absolutely. And Jay, what role does corporate Canada need to play in supporting accessibility innovation?
I think we've touched on some of it, but I'll parlay a few of the thoughts that both Stephanie and I have shared, and I think, Lianna, you've touched on some of it as well. One is I often, and again, I'm just going to use lived experience because I've had a number of great conversations across Canada in the last 24 hours or 48 hours. We need to acknowledge that there is, more importantly than responsibility, is it's an opportunity. Whether it be in the context of monetization, being able to serve underserved segments, accessing diverse talent, right? In a new world in which we're working, that's more hybrid and more flexible, talent is everywhere. And as Stephanie said, our productivity is Canada, not where it needs to be. We have acute skills and talent gaps. I'm a firm believer that a lot of those skills that organizations are looking for today exist in the environment in which we are operating. We've built environments that aren't conducive or supportive. And so corporate Canada needs to change. My platform, my push to all of them is do it faster than the legislation does. There's no reason why you should be waiting because first movers win markets. And whether that's in the context of dollars or revenue or performance and profitability, it could be in the context of new product innovation. It could be in the context of new customer acquisition. It could be in the context of talent. There are so many good reasons for corporate Canada to be leaders. The second is we got to lean into environments like this. We got to go spur the innovation in Canada because it's alive and well. But we as corporate Canada and broadly across corporate Canada, CIBC has been an exceptional partner. We can provide platforms to each of you and to the work that you are doing. And so for me, it's a call to action for the corporate Canada broadly that says this is an opportunity that we all own. We should all be aspiring to remove the barriers that Stephanie is helping to guide us on, but we should be doing it faster. Why do we need to wait so long? And so I think it's just an amazing moment for corporate Canada to be leaders and really shape the world. And I know Stephanie gets these questions as much as I do now in my expanded role, which is many countries look to Canada to set the pace. Corporate Canada needs to snap to that work and pave the way. And collectively, it's a shared responsibility.
Thank you, Jay. Just going back on Stephanie's point with supporting each other's startups in the disability and accessibility space. I know one of my favorite things about ATS Labs is, you know, although we are in the same industry, you're really not competing against each other. You know, I want to see other startups succeed because that means that their technology is improving the lives of people with a disability. So, you know, I'm sure everyone in this room is going to be so supportive of one another, cheering really loud for each other's pitches, and hopefully these products will change the world. So I'm going to ask one more question for the both of you, and then we're going to turn it to the audience. So what advice would you give to innovators and entrepreneurs who are looking to create more inclusive and accessible products or services? Maybe we'll start with Stephanie.
Include people with disabilities. And by that I mean hire them. As I mentioned, people with disabilities innovate every day. And we know the research supports the fact that when you have a diverse team that includes people with disabilities, companies are more innovative and they make more money. So why wouldn't you do that? Tap into what they know. Have them working on your teams. Have them working on your products, on your ideas. Ask them. And remember that not only are they a huge part of the market at 22%, they're also largely an untapped labor market. There are over 650,000 people, we believe, in Canada right now, ready today to work, who have a disability, who have 50% of them have post-secondary education, some advanced degrees, and they aren't getting in the front door of businesses. Yep. So that's, again, a huge opportunity, and it only makes business sense.
And Jay?
Stephanie keeps getting ahead of me. I'll maybe just add two pieces to it that are maybe a creative one, which is Stephanie touched on it earlier on. We've got sort of a saying that I use incessantly in every customer conversation, which is accessibility built in, not bolted on. And so as you're thinking about designing products, start with accessibility in mind, because it is more expensive in most cases to do it after the fact. And in many cases, as Stephanie said so eloquently, products will become redundant if you are not inclusive. And so from a design thinking point of view, think inclusive design from the outset. That inclusive design principles, to Stephanie's second comment, is going to guide you to a position of how do I design with the community, not for. For us as Microsoft, serving the billions of people that we do, if our teams that are designing our products do not best represent the communities we are trying to serve, we will fail. I say this openly as a white, able-bodied male. If I'm going to sit in a room and design a product, I'm going to design it with my bias. It's who we are as humans. We need to increase the diversity of the individuals that are participating and helping fuel that. Hire them, to Stephanie's comment, would be my first ask. The second, at minimum, engage with the community to broaden your inputs, because there is so much diversity in the community unto itself. And so those would be my two big ones. Build it in, don't bolt it on. And second is build with the community, don't build for the community.
What awesome points. Thank you. And I know just from even my experience incorporating people with disabilities into our design process, like I am learning from them. And, you know, I'm an engineer, but they were creating so many awesome ideas and adaptations that I was like, why the heck did I not think of that? So involving them is so important. And I love hiring them, and I love all of that. Okay, so we're going to pass it off to the audience. Maybe do you want me to give the mic to you so you can kind of run it? Okay.
Questions? Oh, lots of questions already.
I'll raise a question about air travel. So I think you were the subject of losing your wheelchair when you were flying to but that happens every day to hundreds of people. And looks like Air Canada just doesn't care, or any air carrier doesn't care. More than that, they can refuse your assists to take with you on a plane. They have that right. Are we going to change anything about that? Without enforcement, they will never change.
Well, I will argue with you on that because I'm having conversations with airlines, lots of them, from small airlines in British Columbia that service remote communities by float plane that are building accessibility into their plans, right through to the biggest carriers in the world. And I gave a keynote at the International Air Transport Association meeting in Chicago a few weeks ago, and accessibility is now a full track of conversation. And not one CEO from an airline that was there didn't talk about the fact that they're not doing well enough and they need to do better. So it is coming. And the Canadian government the ministers have made some commitments to ensure that change happens faster. And in this area, I believe Canada's going to lead.
Can I ask a question? Quick question for Jay. Jay, I was impressed by ability of Microsoft to produce money. They're sitting on a pile of cash bigger than some governments. Are you going to share that pile of cash with the accessible technologies? Because you have to understand, I'm a founder for startup. And like Lianna said, for us, raising money, it's impossible. Nobody wants to give us money. And companies like Microsoft could lead in that thing by setting up foundations, some charity, similar to what Microsoft former CEO does, Bill Gates. So are you going to share some pile of cash with the startup to accessibility?
So I won't profess for a moment to be Satya. And so take my answer with a grain of salt. What I would say is a couple of things, and I know a number of our team members in the room today. So one, we have a number of programs in and around the startup community. It does not distinguish between whether you're accessibility focused or otherwise. It is open to anyone that is looking to innovate and build on the platform. Two, I made reference to our AI for Accessibility program. That is a grants-based program, yes, based on an application because we are driving intentional focus areas. But again, open front door for any innovator who has a solution or an idea to go solve that specific area of focus. independent of those kinds of programs, we obviously have what we call M2. We do have an entire venture cap organization that does look at these opportunities. I look at Be My Eyes as a great example of this, which was a company that came through some of our early programs. We've now signed a fairly sizable partnership relationship with them. And so I would say we actually do put a lot of our money and our investments and our resources in behind this. I'd say challenge us, which is, can you discover them? Can you find them? That's great feedback that I and my team can absolutely take.
Okay. Folks joining us online, please send in your questions in the chat as well. We're keeping an eye on that. Folks in the room.
Hi, thank you for this opportunity. A bit about my startup. We are building an AI assistant for immigrants to help them settle faster. Now, the challenges that we have been facing is we're not growing fast enough. What I have seen is mainly for two reasons. One is the lack of funding or the funding resources that we have. It's been really challenging for us to kind of go ask for money. And the second is the resources, right? For example, like AI for assistance it requires deep technology, right? So what would be kind of your suggestion from your point of view, to get through that first step of raising funds or grants and getting that resources, like human resources?
I am no expert in funding startups. I'm going to be honest. I don't know what the answer is there. But I will tell you, part of it is knocking on lots of doors. And when I said, tell the leaders in your community what you're doing and what your needs are, that's a place to start.
Questions?
I see Lianna looking up to me. So, maybe just to build on Stephanie's comments, and Lianna, you may have an amazing point of view in coaching and where you can do peer sharing here as well. And so feel free to jump in. I think there's a number of things that I think about. One, obviously, is understand the programs that are available, from Mars and some of the incubation work that they do to specific programs that we in corporate Canada run. Is it a lot and often complicated? For sure. No question about it. But I think make sure you're going and lifting up every single rock, and to Stephanie's comment, is screaming a little bit. Storytelling, I think, plays an amazing role inside of this as well. I also think this community becomes super powerful. You talked about skills, and listen, technology is moving so fast. It truly, truly is. And I think there's a moment for us, I'll say broadly as a community, which is how do we harness the collective power to go solve some of those technical challenges? So you're not necessarily having to hire on staff some of those technical capabilities. Can you partner? And amazing in many cases, which is you can unlock the human passion that exists in people to solve some of these challenges. And so sometimes it's just about asking. I don't know, Lianna, would you add anything given your experience?
Yeah, so that was loud. Yeah, raising investment in this space is not impossible. I think storytelling is huge. For me, whenever I pitch to investors, it is the story. The story I told you today, that is really my investor pitch of why I even started this. Going back to Alyssa and, it was just a school project, and really telling the origin story of why you're so passionate about solving this problem. And I see some founders in the room that I personally know that have gone out and raised thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it's definitely not impossible. There's so many wonderful organizations out there. Finding them is different or very, very difficult. So that's why it's really important for all of us to network and share those awesome tidbit organizations, so that we can and all, get investment and bring these innovations that are going to change people's lives across the world. But I just think storytelling is huge. And I know for me, the 3 investors that we had, I didn't even share any financial projections with them. They were all for the impact and the storytelling, and you want the right investors too. And our investors, they're here for the impact, and I think finding them is possible. We just all need to kind of circle and pull together all of our resources to do so, and that's again what the ATS Labs community and access to success. That's why Varun created it so that we can all support each other, get the funding again, because we're not competing with one another. And we just want to see each other succeed and change the lives of way more than 500,000 people. So I'll pass back to Varun.
This is Varun speaking. Let me just quickly add to this from my experience working with a lot of the startups in this space. Naturally, one of the biggest, most frequent questions that comes up is funding. There are three factors in here that I want to mention in addition to storytelling. One is, are you taking an impact focus or a scale focus? If you're taking an impact focus, then the investors that you're going to want to look at are going to be different versus the investors that you who would be interested in you if you're talking about scalability. I believe disability innovations are massively scalable. That's a whole other discussion that I can do a whole 1 hour of conversation on. I want. If you can build that bridge to that massive scalability, that pool of investors who would be correct for you are much wider. But sometimes that's just not the case. Sometimes it's okay if a disability innovation and accessibility innovation addresses a specific problem for a specific set of people, and that's okay. Everything does not have to be scalable. In which case, the kind of investors you would go to would be different. There would be impact-oriented investors for whom the impact part is more important and not the, am I going to get 100x return out of this? That was the second point. The third point was, are investors, VC investors, right for you? Sometimes they're not. Not all businesses are going to be appropriate for venture capital. I'm not saying they're going to be venture scalable. They may be venture scalable, but they may still not be appropriate for venture capital, in which case there are a number of other opportunities available. It is hard, but there are options available outside of traditional venture capital as well. I think we have time for one more question.
I mean, it's maybe a little more of an answer to the previous question. Vector Institute, the Fast Lane program we joined, and this is where you can get access to interns that are trained up in AI and could help you in that way. And then also in terms of the Microsoft scales of if you have a software-based thing that would benefit from AI, you know, we got through the different scales. I think it starts at 5 and then 20K or something, and we're at the 150K level of being able to use the cloud from Microsoft Azure, which is really great. So just a bit of an answer to the previous question. Also, as you mentioned, Mars is really fantastic. The Mars support, if you can follow that and get accepted as Mars as well.
Last question.
I actually was going to add something quickly. Mike Thibodeau, I actually work for Microsoft, and previously to this, my current role, I was leading startups and fast-growing companies here in Canada. And I think one of the things that I keep hearing, and I know as an entrepreneur, a lot of the times we focus on funding to accelerate, but there's actually one thing that's more scarce than money as a founder, and that's time. One of the things, and to Jay's point, sometimes maybe we don't make it as easy to find, but oftentimes people come to Microsoft looking for free software, free credits. What they don't come to us asking for, but we have lots of, is free time and energy and expertise. And so if you do find yourself on the Founders Hub program that I think the gentleman over here mentioned, there are credits, there is software, but there's also free mentorship and free technical advice from people that have insane salary bands at Microsoft. And that can set you on the path and save you hundreds of hours. And I've seen startups benefit from that before. You can access people within our own accessibility teams at Microsoft for advice, guidance, and mentorship. So money, definitely a challenge always. And so hopefully that can help out. But I like to draw attention to the mentorship and free technical advice that you can get through that program, because more than money, time is of the essence for founders. So just wanted to draw a spotlight on that.
Thank you. This is Varun speaking. Thank you, Stephanie, Jay, and Lianna for joining us today. This was an absolutely wonderful, delightful, and insightful conversation. I appreciate you making the time. Thank you so much. Give it up for our speakers. And yes, acknowledging my little oversight here on the screen where Jay's title is a little misleading. That's my bad.
It's
I'm
okay,
sorry
I'll
about
take
that.
it.
Although 2 assistant officers might not be that bad after all, but we'll do with one for now. Okay, all right. Let me share my screen again here. Okay, and now the big one, the thing that our 11 amazing presenters have been working on for more than 3 months now, the pitches. The format today is, let me see here. There we go. 3 minutes of pitch time, 3 minutes of Q&A with the judges, and send questions and thoughts in the chat, because this, as everybody has shared, is a community game. This is not to be done in silos. So if you have questions that you want our presenters to think about, if you have help that you want to offer to our presenters, to our startups, to our founders, folks joining us online, send that in the chat. We have 11 amazing startups coming here today. You can see them on the screen. We have them joining from all over Canada, all over the world. In fact, this year we received over 30 applications for 10 spots from 15 countries and 5 continents this year alone. And ultimately, we selected a cohort of 10 startups plus 5 from a partnership with the Mars Discovery District. And those startups are from Canada, the US, Germany, and Tunisia. To help guide this conversation with the startups, we have 3 amazing judges who are joining us today, and I'm delighted to welcome them. First is Bruce Simpson. Bruce is a partner at H Tech Capital. Bruce, are you here? There he is. Please, you can grab a seat here and we'll move right it for you. Bruce Simpson is partner at H Tech Capital. He serves as senior advisor to McKinsey & Company and Blackstone on ESG and purpose, advising on how companies can deliver positive societal impact and long-term shareholder benefits. He has led McKinsey's Canadian practice and has served on McKinsey's global board. Our second judge is Sarah Hartkern. Sarah is a senior associate at Whitecap Venture Partners, an early-stage venture fund that invests in B2B SaaS and medtech startups. Prior to joining Whitecap, Sarah co-founded Primpid, a wellness and personal care marketplace startup, and worked in investment banking. A third and final judge today is Will Ma, a director of investments at the Mars Investment Accelerator Fund. Prior to joining IAF, Will served as a director of technology banking at Silicon Valley Bank, as head of finance and operations at Validare, and also co-founded a Y Combinator-backed enterprise SaaS startup. And there is his photo on the screen trying to come up now. There we go. All right, so thank you, judges, for joining us. Please give it up for our judges who are going to help us get the invitation. And now it's time to welcome our first presenter, Celeste. I'm going to put up their presentation here. Folks joining us online, confirming you can see our slides.
Yes.
Put us in the chat. Yay, nay. Yes. Okay, great.
Yes.
Getting a thumbs up
Yeah.
there. And we'll move this monitor back to the front. You can present from here.
And move with the Hi, my name is Shub. I'm the founder and CEO of Celeste. There's there's 43 million blind people worldwide that struggle with tasks that we take for granted. So much so that 1 in 4 people actually face depression from a lack of independence in their lives. The glasses I'm wearing have a smart assistant that someone can hold up a shirt in front of them and ask, hey, is this my black and red flannel shirt? And the glasses will take a photo, analyze it, and tell the user through the speakers. We also remember the photos that are taken from the glasses and even the conversations that you're having. So if you're grocery shopping, You can ask the glasses to remind you what was in your fridge. Or you can ask it to remind you the name of the restaurant that your friend mentioned in a conversation last week. Using all of this data, we can also start to automate tasks. Like we integrated with Gmail recently, so the glasses can help automate drafting and sending emails. The way we use technology right now is incredibly manual. We have to tell it exactly what to do. Smart glasses, for the first time, allow this technology to be passive. And that's going to help enhance our memory and make us more efficient. We're starting off by helping people with vision loss, but our mission is to change the way that everybody uses technology, from phones and laptops to smart glasses. And we've already released our glasses. We've given it to 53 people and already have people that are using it every single day. People like Debbie, who for the first time in her life was able to play board games with her family by herself because the glasses read her cards for her. We have 21K in revenue from 100 pre-orders, and we're going to release 50 more glasses just in the next 2 weeks. We sell our glasses on a monthly subscription of $50. We also sell to government subsidy programs for $3,000. And we've made glasses that are much more affordable, half the size, and have nearly 10 times the processing power, because we're the only ones that have figured out how to offload data processing to your phone. We've done all of this, which that's my co-founder and I, Sanu. We both have a background in computer science. We also have amazing advisors like Jennison, who's the head of accessibility at LinkedIn, and Randy Cohen, who teaches entrepreneurship at Harvard. Both of these people have vision loss and have funded Celeste. We raised 200K in grants and 100K in equity investments so far, and we need another 50K to close our round. We're gonna sell 500 glasses by April, giving us 300K ARR, which is when we're gonna raise a seed round of 3 million. Thank you.
Sure, I'm happy to kick things off. Maybe you could clarify a bit in terms of you're also selling the hardware combined with the software?
Yeah, so the people pay $100 upfront, they get the glasses, and it's $50 every month. They never actually own the glasses, but we upgrade the software and hardware for them for free.
I would love to hear more about how you found your early users and your plans for, kind of more scale.
Yeah. Well, me and my co-founder actually have been volunteering with blind Paralympic athletes for the last 2 years in Vancouver. So most of our users, our early users, came from that. Moving forward, we've gotten funding from the Canadian National Institute for the Blind. We are talking with partnerships for different lighthouses and low vision organizations in America. These are basically stores that sell assistive technology. We've figured out a partnership where they'll take a 20% cut on our upfront cost and subscription in exchange for selling our glasses, and that's how we're going to scale up.
The same question as the last time I saw you. Great stuff. The technology moat that you have. We all know Google Glasses, there's other solutions. How different is your tech versus what's out there, and how protected is your IP?
Yeah, so our IP comes from the Smart Assistant. And so in order to build the Smart Assistant, the main problem we face is, we're collecting a lot of information. And so we're creating a unique architecture to organize all of this information that we then feed into the LLMs, right? We can't just pass it everything that we know into the LLM every time. So that's incredibly hard. On top of that, all the data that we are gathering, we're able to fine tune LLM models specifically to, again, make a better Smart Assistant. And that's something that our competitors aren't doing, and Facebook and Google also aren't doing.
Could you just classify that the technology, the sizzle that you bring here, is it 80% hardware, 20% software, or the opposite? How would you calibrate?
Yeah, it's 90% software and 10% hardware.
I guess just a follow-up question is, how do you think about privacy given that the camera's on?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. There's a couple things. One, we never actually store the photos. We store descriptions of photos, and that's only photos that people manually take with the glasses. We also store all of that locally on your phone, encrypted. So we never have access to it. It's all under your control. You can delete it all if you want. You can stop background processing, but it's all on your phone.
I guess my final question, also really great pitch. I forgot to mention that before. What do you feel will be the biggest kind of technical hurdle for you in terms of like your next phase of product?
Yeah, I think the hardest part is one, the end goal is to go to the general public. And so for that, you need to have the hardware. You do need to have the hardware become smaller. You do need to put AR into it. But the bigger problem we face right now is like creating an AI agent. This technology is very new. Like there's innovations every single week, literally, of like the best way to do it. People talk about RAG, people talk about knowledge graphs. Just staying on the cutting edge, moving fast enough where we're keeping up with the changes and kind of leading the field. Because our advantage is by starting off with the blind, we can be the first company to build smart glasses that people actually wear all day. No company in the world has made smart glasses that do this. Even Ray-Bans, only 9% of their users use them even once a month. Like they're not solving a problem. Smart glasses historically haven't solved the problem. We are, and so we need to use that data to create a better agent.
Just one quick roundup question. So you're starting with the blind population, but I can see all sorts of additional uses. People who have dementia. I mean, it's just people are just getting, older who get forgetful. The reminders and so on. So that your TAM is huge. You put some big numbers around that.
Yeah, well, there's lots of different markets that we can go to on the road to get to everybody. Some of them is like dementia. We're also talking to like, you can use this in an art gallery to help explain and give you a guided tour of the art as you go around. We've talked to people in mining, people in construction that like want to use the glasses to make sure everything's up to code. So there's lots of different segments. Our main filter is that we pick a segment that people are actually going to use the glasses very, very often. So dementia is a good example, right, where you would ideally wear the glasses all day and then solving a big enough problem. So right now, like vision loss is an incredibly huge market, and we are solving a deep problem there, so we can stay focused. But in the next 2 years, we plan to expand beyond that.
Sorry, well, unfortunately, we're out of time. Thank you, Shub, for joining. I did say this is a collaborative effort, folks, so I hope you're all paying attention because at the end of the pitches, I'm going to ask you to vote for your favorite startup. And the winning startup will actually get a cash award so that your vote matters. Now, give me a second while I deal with thing that works. Next up, Sparrow.
Good afternoon. My name is Elizabeth Plouffe, and I'm the founder of Spiro Careers Canada. I have a tendency to forget to smile, so I'm going to try and do that today. Otherwise, I get like really angry face, and that's not great for pictures. So we're here today to talk to you about NanoWorks, and NanoWorks has been designed to help the 559,000 disability support service providers across North America, help the 23 million neurodiverse individuals also across North America to maintain and gain employment. So NanoWorks was created when I tried to get my son employment support, and the only solution in our area was a 2-hour-a-month autism job club, which was a great opportunity, but didn't move him any closer to employment. He's now a success story, but not because an employment advisor had enough time to help him. 12 million underemployed or unemployed neurodivergent job seekers are more than capable of some type of full-time or part-time work. And by solving the advisor admin overload, we can create an economic impact of more than $247 billion across North America. There's also the potential to add $230 billion in taxes. Nobody likes taxes, but they're beneficial. And a reduction in reliance on government programs. After talking to over 100 employment advisors across Canada, we discovered that over half of their time is spent in covering admin. This is a huge issue because they're also using tools that don't help them do their job. What problem that creates is that they have to serve less clients and give clients less time, which then slows down the progress towards employment. So who's losing out? The clients. To create more success stories like my son Thomas, employment advisors need the time to do their job properly and coach more people. Our co-design process has demonstrated 3 key areas that need solutions into closing the coaching gap. Our clients are already telling us that NanoWorks is helping them to do their jobs better. Because we co-designed with employment advisors and neurodivergent individuals, we validated our ideas, our initial ideas, and then iterated as opposed to going to market with something that we thought would work but would actually not do the job. Now we know NanoWorks can do the job. Capturing 10% of the market would bring in $41.7 million in revenue for our company per year. And our goal is to move towards capturing 50% of that market, which would then be $208 million. Yay! Our go-to-market has already been successful in that we've converted two organizations, within our network to paying clients. We have a B2C subscription model. That's a monthly fee. Our commitment to solving the unemployment crisis has resulted in Spiro being accepted into multiple programs and getting grants and government funding. Our more recent success is being accepted into the IRAP ownership IP program, which is going to validate our concept. We now have funding to access legal services, and we'll be moving forward with the formalization of our IP process. So what's our ask for today? In the audience today is my business partner, Jason. He is our Chief Technology Officer, and he's the only person who's doing the building. Our angel investment ask of $350,000 would allow us to expand our tech development team, clear up our backlog of things that we want to deliver and improve NanoWorks, and be able to move things forward more quickly. Because 15 to 20% of the global population is neurodiverse, like my son Thomas, this is a global issue. So we are also asking for mentorship so that we can scale NanoWorks globally successfully and help more people. So what's next? With the investment, we would move forward with adding AI for more career exploration. We would move forward with parent and guardian portal and mobile app. We're currently an online platform that both organizations and clients access through online. So we currently have job seekers, employment advisors, and a small parent pilot happening. And we would like to bring more employers, government organizations, colleges and universities with their career centers, and post-secondary on board. And this is our team. I founded the company in 2017. Since then, we have moved forward. I now have 2 business partners. Have to tell you, that makes life a lot easier. And then we've grown our team to include neurodivergent individuals so that we understand both sides of the problem. To wrap up, neurodiversity is just a different way of thinking and processing information. And that's why we have to be different. Thank you for your time.
Great presentation. I think one of the things I always get stuck in is process change is hard once I get into a routine. And so how do you find kind of adoption and kind of convincing people to switch their kind of maybe paper-based or traditional method onto the platform?
So what's been interesting is that I'm just going to go back. And so Paulette Goddard is one of my business partners, and she's been helping neurodiverse individuals for over 30 years, very paper-based. I use a Rocketbook, which is a digitized notebook. So I managed to transition her from paper to Rocketbook, step 1, yay. And now she's moving on to NanoWorks and actively supporting her private clients. And then she's also working with us on other programs that we deliver. We also focus on building neurodiversity in trades and advanced manufacturing. And so she's using it there. She's already finding a difference. It's shortening her coaching cycle. So that's the biggest thing.
Really great presentation.
Thank you.
I'm curious if you've thought about if there's a component to maybe the product roadmap where you build out like a marketplace where not only are you selling the software to all those stakeholders, but also connecting the community.
Yes, so we already have a built-in community resource. So everybody that comes on board NanoWorks has the opportunity to share resources on the back end. So they can do article sharing, they can do link sharing, all that type of thing. And then from a community perspective for the neurodiverse individuals, that's definitely on our roadmap because that's our main goal, right? Is to connect neurodivergent individuals to as many places as possible.
Could you just expand on what your product, your service actually does? I get the improvement in efficiency. I didn't quite get how that is reallocated to effectiveness to actually then helping people like your son get employment. Just help me on that bridge there, could you?
Absolutely. So one of the biggest challenges is that service providers up until now have relied heavily on email to communicate with clients. The challenge is that the clients don't actually answer the email. So one of the biggest things we've solved with that big time suck, Jason calls it death by paper cuts, is moving towards an SMS-based notification and communication system. One of the other challenges is that when coaches move on with that paper-based trail, that trail disappears. So we're solving that interruption in coaching by giving them a space to put their notes and their files and everything else, so that continuity of care. So by doing all of that, we then reduce the admin down to less than 20% because they're currently spending more than 60% of their time on admin. That frees up more hours for coaching. They're still actually in a coaching deficit for hours because there's too many people to help and not enough service providers. So we need to free up that time and add more service providers back into that talent pool, get more people coaching, and get them out into employment and being supported properly in employment.
We're on time. Unfortunately, I keep going. Thank you, Elizabeth. But this is great because hopefully there will be more opportunities for more conversations now. Next up, Banak.
Hello, I'm Rami, the co-founder of Bonicle. When I was at university, I met a blind student called Ali. Over lunch one day, I asked, Ali, how do you read? This started a conversation that lasted for hours. But at some point, Ali complained and said, over 90% of blind people don't know how to read or write. And it's all because of outdated technology that hasn't been updated in the past 30 years. Ali said it's leading to over 70% of us being unemployed. While Braille was introduced or created in a few centuries ago and digitized in the 80s, still till today, it's limited, bulky, and expensive. And that's what sparked Bonicle, a Braille education and entertainment platform that combines a hardware device with software applications on your smartphone. The Braille cell takes the shape of whatever is on the screen to display letters, words, sentences, or entire environments. In education, Bonicle is your tutor, so it helps you learn Braille as well as so much more. In gaming, Bonicle is your controller. You can use Bonicle to play games, have fun, and you're learning at the same time. Our market is 40 million blind people around the world, spending over $4 billion every year on assistive technology. We're starting with Canada and the Middle East, where there are over 1 million people at a disadvantage. We work with governments and organizations that support the visually impaired to become the tool of choice for learning and teaching Braille. Our goal is through word of mouth to expand our customer base and be able to generate software revenue through our marketplace. So far, we have sold our first batch, generating over 16,000 Canadian dollars in revenue, and we have interest from countries all across the globe. We're currently focused on opportunities with organizations such as CNIB. We're working with school districts across 3 provinces, and we are working on some distribution agreements in the Middle East. Bonicle beats competition in all categories, filling a gap that affects every single blind person around the world. We sell our hardware for $1,000 Canadian, and while we start with freemium software, there are so many opportunities to add a sustainable revenue stream through software as a subscription or paper app models. Our team is full of people committed to the mission, and with a blind teacher on our team, we have over 15 years of experience in accessible design and education for blind users. So far, we've raised $1 million since 2019, and we are raising 1 million more in mid-2024 to meet the demand that we have, accelerate our development, and scale our sales. Thank you very much. If you guys want to check it out.
Very cool. I guess one thing that you can help me understand is on the application side, is it a software or a driver that has to be installed? Does software have to be developed for it to use, or is it more just the equivalent of a mouse where you can plug it in and it interacts with whatever you're currently using?
Barnacle is very different from existing Braille devices. So right now, what we are doing is we're creating the applications and the software ourselves. But there is potential to, first of all, have other developers also create applications. And then once we are able to work with companies like Apple, companies like Google, we're able to also build in APIs into their own platforms in order to accept Barnacle and have it be accessible for all their applications.
Cool. Thanks.
Great job. I was just curious, are you creating your own educational content?
Yes. So right now, all the applications that we have created ourselves, and we work with educators in the community as well as the blind teacher on our team to basically have those developed.
Can you do a double click for me on the technology here? What's the sizzle in the solution? What's different about what you're bringing that can't easily be copied?
So Barnacle, the hardware, is very different from everything that has existed so far in terms of Braille. The fact that it's portable, the fact that it's a lot more convenient for anyone to use anywhere around their day, during their day. The IP that we have is 100% in the software. We think that the way that the software communicates with the device and the way we're utilizing the software, for example, like in the game that I showed, the Braille cell will not just show Braille characters, but it's actually showing the environment. These are the things that we think we're taking a very new look at, and it's not something that has existed in the market before.
Can you perhaps just explain how it actually works? So for the user experience in using this, give us a little explanation of that, perhaps.
100%. So Barnacle will connect, and I also have a video that I can kind of show. But Barnacle will basically connect to your smart device, your iPhone, your tablet, and you can download these applications that we have, and it will connect through Bluetooth. You can get the applications from the App Store. Barnacle will basically be the medium, the tactile medium that connects you between your iPhone and Braille, the Braille medium. So for example, if you're learning letters, these letters come up on the Braille cell. You can learn them. You can hear the sound effects and the audio descriptions coming out of your phone. And this also works with like games, for example. So this is a very simple tic-tac-toe game where you're basically using Barnacle to navigate a grid. And that's very cool because it helps students learn spatial awareness, pattern recognition, and a lot of different skills that helps them with the Braille.
How long for one word question? And how long does it take somebody who hasn't used it yet to learn how to use it? Is it instant or is it?
Because Barnacle is very different, the way that it uses Braille, we've seen significant developments happen in a testing phase of like 20 minutes. So people get used to the device very quickly. It's very intuitive. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next up, Vibrant. Can folks confirm online that they're seeing the correct file? You have Vibrant? Okay, great.
Before I begin, I would like to thank Varun and the whole team for what they do, because I've been through about a dozen of different programs, and this one is really unique. And I'm happy that our startup, which is not 100% accessibility startup, got accepted. So I'm happy to be here in front of you. And now I'm ready to begin. So hi, I'm Ilya from Vibrant, where we make the impossible possible by helping paralyzed people to regain motion. Everyone in 6 has a stroke. 85% of survivors experience paralysis. 120 million people live paralyzed worldwide. Just try to imagine, what if we are not able to help all these people? But for many, like this elderly man, it's true. There are literally no tools on the market to treat severe paralysis. But there is also a good news. To help millions of paralyzed return to self-sufficient lives, we have developed a breakthrough solution that every clinic can get with zero investment. How does this magic work? Patients with the help of robotics, can now master their paralyzed arm in a lifelike virtual game. A brain-computer interface sends a robot to accomplish the desired movement, connecting intention with real motion to restore damaged neural links. Our solution, named Vibrant Rehab, is outstanding. It works in total paralysis, restores the whole limb, allows early, the most effective rehabilitation, is simple to use and really affordable. Clinics will only pay $49 an hour of use, and patients will get a chance to dramatically improve their lives for just $1,800. Within this business model, we target the fast-growing $20 billion market, starting from Canada and eventually expanding globally through local partners, to market Vibrant Rehab in the whole North America by 2027 and in Europe by 2028. In 5 years, in North America only, we aim to supply 400 devices, earn 26 billion revenue, and become highly profitable. Besides that, 50,000 patients will get an inspiring chance to improve their lives for better and return to self-sufficient lives. The unique mix of strong expertise allowed our team to develop this fantastic product. And this work has been supported by a number of partners and funders that would never get tired to thank. Vibrant brought home many prizes and awards. Maybe it's because of the importance of the problem we solve and goals we set. To achieve another aspiring goal, we are raising $2 million to fund preparations for regulatory approvals. Now let me summarize my pitch. Vibrant Rehab is a potential game changer in motor rehabilitation. We are getting prepared for regulatory approvals and raise $2 million to fund this work. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm ready for the questions.
Great pitch. I've actually looked into this space quite a bit. So excited, was very excited to hear this pitch. On kind of, the innovations happened so far, why do you feel like there isn't one market leader? And maybe another way to phrase it is on that competition slide, out of those 5 kind of key things, which to you is like the most important or like winning aspect?
Excuse me. So we have chosen the neural control competitors because they are the most close, and the most important part is that we are able to provide rehabilitation early, and we are focused on restoration in the whole limb, which is very important because majority of competing solutions focus on hand skills.
In our later stage, like to your point on the earlier rehab, is it the idea that most of these existing solutions can't help with that?
Yes.
I'm not as familiar with the regulations in this space, but maybe you can walk me through, like, I imagine it's expensive, it's a long process. Is it kind of the path of least resistance to get to market?
Yes. So first of all, it's not that complex as it seems to be. So many people think it like cost millions, but it looks like we know how to get it faster and like not cheaper but affordable. And yes, we have protected our solution with the 3 patents granted or pending, and we are about to file a little bit more.
Can you go just a wee bit deeper for me on how it actually works? What's the technology actually doing?
Sure.
And how does it help?
Sure. Yeah, it's supposed to be a video slide in like normal circumstances, but this is a PDF file. So the non-invasive brain-computer interface reads the EEG, which stands for electroencephalogram. So we sort of read the brain electricity in non-invasive way. And the brain-computer interface detects the intention to move the paralyzed arm. And then it sends a robotic device to accomplish the desired movement. And at the same time, a patient sees in a virtual reality like their arm is being moved according to their will, for example, to water the flower. And it stimulates a process in the brain called neuroplasticity, which is actually restoration of the neural links damaged by disease or trauma.
Apologize if I missed this, but what validation do you have or have collected that your technology can result?
Yeah, we've done. Unfortunately, we limited in our ability to test in humans, but we've done a successful pilot, and we started 2 clinical trials. One was interrupted by COVID, another one by an organizational issue. And we just recently, last week, actually, we applied for about 1 million funding from Canadian Institute of Health Research to fund 2 years of clinical trials across 3 hospitals and universities in Canada.
More questions sneaking in. What made you arrive at the pricing model of, I think it was $49 an hour versus kind of a flat fee where I can picture people would spend hours on this, and those that want to kind of, redevelop would literally spend all their time on this playing, if it's also like a video game.
We considered a flat fee as well, but probably it would be disadvantaged for early adopters because they will use our solution for, I don't know, maybe 30 hours a month and will pay, I don't know, several $1,000s, which won't make it affordable. So we consider it fair to charge on use basis. So how many patients you serve, you just share with us some portion of the money that you get from the insurance company or from the patient's family.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Some adjustments to the physical space here.
Okay, so as we set up the next individual, you might have heard there's another group in the space and they're aggregating over at the far end. So we're just going to be dropping, there's a garage door to this wide open space to your right here. We're going to be dropping a garage door, opening up this door in just a minute, just so you can hear the presentations a little bit more as well, okay? So if you did need to, leave or whatnot, there's a couple doors in the back, or there'll be the one up front. So I'll go fetch Dan to get the garage doors down and we'll set up the next one. Thank you.
Thank you, Damien. Next up, Signable Vision.
Just got to make sure I'm in the right spot. I don't want to stand in the wrong place. Hello, everyone. I'm Leah Riddell. I'm the founder of Signable Vision. Are your businesses AODA compliant? I have a very unique wraparound solution that is AODA compliance, but it also includes inclusive communication called Sign to Succeed. I experienced 8 years of job stagnation, no pay increases, several communication area issues, and I was unaware of what was going on in the workplace. For example, when the airplanes crashed into the towers in New York City, I had no idea until I got home. My coworkers didn't tell me. So that leads to environments with isolation, frustration, and we need to bring down those barriers. And in order to do so, we want to retain and maintain employees and provide practice and training for disabled individuals to progress and advance. So AODA compliance, you're well aware of, and there's a global market worth about $55 billion, but those penalties are expensive and it's no joke. Do you want to pay those, or would you rather consider a different approach? So building inclusive training with in-person or virtual training can resolve those issues of job stagnation. The communication training I provide breaks down those invisible barriers, provides for personal connection, gets rid of bias, provides for equal opportunities, and the potential for success and growth. Together, we thrive. We build those emotional connections, compassion, have conversations, raise cultural awareness. For the past 2 years, I've trained 6 organizations, 42 classes, and have had 370 learners, resulting in $50,000 revenue. But now we're ready to provide more, have more impactful classes. With your support, we can succeed and thrive by providing franchise opportunities, marketing to improve brand awareness and drive sales. And that's not just for me, but customers delight in the training as well. We need to innovate, change, franchise, have marketing specialists networking, bring up that awareness to increase the awareness of the brand. So we've been doing a lot of communication, innovation, and training, and we're asking for $500,000 to hire interpreters, deaf ASL instructors, technical staff, and others to grow and provide more exposure. Thank you for joining the journey on us for a more inclusive future, and with access for all, we truly all do win. Thank you for listening.
Good presentation. Thank you. I guess one question is, why did you choose on franchising as the growth strategy?
I picked that because when I set it up, I didn't want to be alone, and other people want to have their business. So if they're under me, I can't cover everything. I'm only one person, so it's the benefit to have the franchise. So then it could be across Canada, maybe potentially across the United States as well.
Thank you.
And there's lots of deaf training opportunities as well for this.
My question, in addition to resources and interpreters, will you be providing post-class resources to the people that you're educating and teaching?
Yes, when I provide training, I do a presentation, whether it's in person or virtual. I also have the online platform that they can access to get any resources they may have missed or forgotten. There's blog information, and it's always growing. I'm trying to add more because staff turnover. So that's always there so that organizations can access it for later.
I thought that was brilliant. Thank you. The economic benefit that you described was around avoiding a penalty. I bet you have done some maths around the economic upside versus avoiding a downside, the upside from being more inclusive in the workplace with the communities that you're targeting. Do you have any more comments on that?
Retaining deaf employees, that's one. There's some deaf individuals who have been in their job, but they've been stagnant. They have not advanced whatsoever. So this would also give deaf individuals an opportunity to be part of the franchise as well, to have their own business that way.
Quick question from my end. Is there a community element to your platform in which learners or those who are looking to educate them that don't have this challenge can connect and learn from each other?
For the business to business, I do provide the experiences, but there's a platform as well with other people. And it's not just deaf individuals that benefit from this. It's immigrants, recent settlers, different minorities, different language users, because it's a communication issue to get interpreters. Even for the interpreters coming today, it was challenging to get that all arranged. So having interpreters providing that education, so there is definitely that component as well. And for the business to consumer, people who want to learn more American Sign Language, So I can provide that to the customer directly, but I do have that overlap between business and customer direct.
We over time. I won't think about it.
I see.
Thanks so very much. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, I'm loving the level of excitement, but people are gonna kick us out of this room soon, right? No, we have a little bit of time. Okay. Our next presenter is presenting from BC, and if I can ask her to share her screen. Kelly, oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Next up is Kelly, you're muted.
Oh.
There we go. Yeah. Yep,
Okay.
can hear.
It sounds
Next
good.
up, Capella Design.
Hi, I'm Kaylee, founder of Capella Design, and I'm here to share our mission to empower older adults at home. The older you get, the better you get, unless you're a banana. The Golden Girls were ahead of their time. But today's generation is catching up. They're embracing getting better with age by taking control of where and how they live. They expect products and services to reflect these values. The home health industry hasn't kept up. They sell products designed for hospitals through retail channels that stigmatize buyers and don't reflect how older adults actually see themselves. That's where we come in. Capella Design takes functional home mobility products and reimagines them as beautiful furniture and accessories. Like OXO, we reduce stigma through better design. In 2023, we've launched a shower seat and an adjustable side table, and we have many new products in the pipeline for 2024. And our products have been developed with older adults in the occupational design community who have validated function, design, and necessity. We have a massive opportunity. By 2030, the entire baby boomer generation will be over 65. They'll have needs and they'll spend to support them. We're watching the growth of unprecedented demand for home health products. And our strategy is designed to meet these people where they are. We're owning the home. We're rapidly building out a product portfolio through original product development and drop shipping that lets us bring value throughout the entire house. Next, we're driving demand through partnerships and communities already working with our early adopters, caregivers, and disability advocates. Last, we're creating a lifestyle digital-first brand that tells a different story. Today, we're focused on uniquely positioning ourselves in the market by selling a variety of products for the home that look good, don't require renovation, and aren't sold in a stigmatizing mobility store. Our pricing falls in a large space between cheap medical equipment and the high cost of custom renovations, and our channels help us protect margins. We've bootstrapped our business to bring two stylish and functional products to market. They've received recognition in influential publications, won features at design shows, and are even showcased in a museum. We're creating products that people have said they've been proud to own and show off. Our small team brings together the best of design, retail, and research. I'm an award-winning industrial designer, and Patrick has over 20 years of experience working in health innovation. We benefit from the support and guidance of experts in design, occupational therapy, and digital strategy. We're seeking partnership with caregiving and disability organizations who have already been asking for better design options. We need funding to develop additional products for the people you support, mentorship to help us grow our brand, and co-design and testing of our products. While the values of the Golden Girls are still valid today, the design older adults want is dramatically different. Join our movement to transform healthcare, home healthcare, I should say, for a growing market ready to pay for better design.
Haley, this is amazing. So I'm a VC called Age Tech Capital. So do check us out online and send us a pitch deck, and we can have a chat. Can you just dig a little bit into your the secret sauce I mean, there are many folks out there who could say, hey, we design stuff for older people. You obviously have something special that you bring. Maybe just bring us a little bit deeper into what that sizzle is that you've got there.
So I think what we're doing a lot differently is really evident if you've ever been to a mobility product store. I don't if you've had to visit one, it isn't a great experience. And a lot of what's happening in this space is people are trying to make the cheapest thing possible and produce as many of them as possible, right? And so what we're saying is there's actually there's value in the design of these objects. So we're doing that, and we're co-designing. So we're actually working with the people that we're designing these products for, which is unfortunately not always the case. And many people in the disability space will tell you all the issues with the home mobility products that are out there.
A great pitch. Seems like you're doing a lot of different products across the home. And if that's the case, I would love to learn your decision behind that versus going super deep within bathroom furniture.
Yes. So an important thing that we've discovered is there's a need to create a lifestyle brand around what we're doing. So if we just become the bathroom company, we're super niched. Whereas if we allow ourselves to create objects for the entire home, this lets us create a bigger brand.
Great presentation.
Thank you.
It's very nice furniture. I'll say it. Even I might use one of these.
And that's the point. Yes.
I think the one question is, how are you thinking about manufacturing and the scaling of manufacturing?
Of course. So actually what we did to start, the shower seat is manufactured in-house so that we could do some learning at low cost. So figured out a way to manufacture at a smaller scale, but really get the product out there. And then as we go forward, we're going to be scaling manufacturing. An important value for our brand is to keep everything in North America for a variety of reasons. And we already have partnerships with some manufacturers in BC and in Mexico. So we'll be able to scale quickly when we're ready.
Could you just take us a little bit deeper into your design process? Just to bring out, it's not just a couple of smart people joining in an IKEA furniture team to bring out the magic of it. What's your process here that's unique?
Yeah, so I think the thing that makes us unique is our team is made up of inclusive designers. So we've already been thinking about how to have more voices in the conversation. We reach out directly to people in the communities we serve as well as people who serve them. So we have an occupational therapist that we are constantly in conversation with to give us like real-time feedback on everything that we're working with. And the other thing we do is rapid prototyping. So we're putting our objects out there quickly and getting this feedback so that we make sure that what we are putting into the market actually reflects the needs of people who use these things.
Thank you, Kelly. Next, we have ND Connect.
Is this showing up okay for everybody? I can't see people's faces when I'm in present mode, so let me know if you can hear me and see me, if that's all right.
Okay, we see now. Thank you.
Yeah, it's on? Okay, perfect. Is it like full screen and everything? Okay. Have you ever had someone in your life who's really championed you? Would you even be in this room today without that person? I know that I wouldn't be. For a long time, I struggled in my personal and professional life because I have ADHD and the world isn't built for people like me. I felt alone and looked like this more often than I'd like to admit. Until I found a mentor that also has ADHD completely by accident, and it changed everything. She gave me tools to work with my brain instead of against it, and I could relate to her, which helped me feel like I had a brighter future. She showed me that it's possible for an ADHDer to not only navigate the world, but to thrive in it. Unfortunately, most neurodivergent people don't have access to connections like this. There are more than 29 million neurodivergent adults in the US and Canada alone that report needing mentorship and community. And more than half of neurodivergent people have quit their jobs because they don't feel supported, which is incredibly costly for both people and organizations. And this issue is only getting more pressing as more people are recognizing their neurodivergence and seeking support. Get this, the number of Google searches for neurodiversity has increased by more than 3,000% in the last 5 years. And yet, there's a gap. While 92% of Fortune 500 companies offer mentorship programs, they aren't built for neurodivergent people, so it rarely works for our needs. That's why we're building EndyConnect, the first mentorship and peer connections platform by and for our community. Our app enables neurodivergent people to connect with others who understand their whole selves, and we designed the platform to work for the unique challenges that neurodivergent brains experience when building and sustaining relationships. Most organizations don't measure how their neurodivergent people are doing at all. We give them insights into this critical stakeholder group and empower them with data to improve their employee experience and attract and retain top talent. In just 6 months, we're already changing lives. We built our beta, gained more than 300 signups, and secured our first corporate partner. But in our opinion, it's the quality, not just the quantity of connections that matter. As just one example, 2 members of our community recently connected over both being Jewish, autistic, and estranged from family, and they provided each other with peer support over Rosh Hashanah. And we have so many more stories like that. This is just the beginning. We're confident we can capture $15 million of market share and facilitate 1 million connections between people on our platform in the next 3 years. Our model is based primarily on selling to organizations, although we are testing personal plan pricing. Our enterprise-focused go-to-market strategy involves identifying decision makers with neurodiversity buy-in through leveraging our extensive networks, partners, and industry events. We have also been actively building co-selling relationships with neurodiversity consultancy firms who would like to offer EndyConnect as an add-on to support their existing clients. We're the right team to be doing this because it's not just a startup to us, but our life mission to create a community like this. We are neurodivergent ourselves, we have the right domain and technical expertise, and we have a history of successfully running a neurodiversity nonprofit where we've trained more than 800 leaders on neuroinclusion, among other things. We're also backed by some incredible advisors, including Tim Rose from CIBC and Tara, the CEO of Aspiritech. In January, we're looking to raise a $300,000 pre-seed, which will help us become go-to-market ready. And if you're a DEI or people manager, please picture your logo here and reach out to learn more about what becoming a founding partner could look like. If you believe, just like we do, that everyone deserves to have someone who will champion them, reach out by scanning this QR code, and let's pave the way together. Thank you.
Well done. That was terrific. One question for you. I get the front end where you connect people who have ADHD. Can you go a little bit deeper on what you're then offering them as part of the app? Just go a little bit deeper into some of the offerings there.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a few things. One is that we want to become their full mentorship co-pilot. So for me, as somebody with ADHD, making the initial connection is sometimes challenging. But beyond that, I forget people exist. I get overwhelmed by my calendar systems, who does the scheduling. So we automate all of those processes to make it easy to build and maintain those deeper social ties, which is what leads to people having the social capital and the champions in their lives. We also always say that our community is a place where we want people to find their pod, maybe 5 people. So not like LinkedIn or Facebook where we have thousands of connections, but 5 people who you really truly know will champion you and who you will in turn support and champion. And we also offer a lot of other events. So in the spring, for example, we have a lot of different mentorship group sessions with different talent acquisition, neurodivergent folks at top companies. We have neurodivergent authors who are mentoring people. And we also are truly a community. A lot of us, once a month, we get on a Zoom call together and we all organize our spaces together. We call it a community clean, which is very supportive to many of us.
That's awesome. Great job. Lots of great progress since I last saw you pitch. My question is around, are there any privacy kind of concerns or safety concerns with, building this type of community and also involving people's employers?
Yeah, absolutely. That is such a great question. And one of the biggest things that we've been thinking about internally. So one thing I will say is that 10% of our community members don't use Google because they don't trust Google with their data. But they do trust our platform after reviewing our privacy policies. They're all written in plain language and they're really easy to understand. So please feel free to check those out on our website too. But we have a lot of safeguards in place to ensure that it's a safe and secure community. For example, it is by invite only. So everybody who joins our network does have to fill out an application process unless they're from one of our partner organizations. And people leaders don't have access to the individuals who are using the platform. So they don't know who is using it. That impact dashboard appears after we've hit like a critical threshold of people within that organization to help ensure anonymity. And then we also give a lot of individuals access over their privacy settings, so people can toggle, I want my profile to only be shown to people within my organization, or hey, I actually don't want anybody else from my organization to see my profile. People can also toggle the lived experience tags that they have. So, you know, maybe I'm comfortable with my ADHD being open, but maybe I'm not comfortable identifying as autistic on our platform. And so unless the other person is also autistic. So we enable a lot of that by design into our infrastructure.
That's great.
Great presentation. I think a question is, how did you decide to go kind of the B2B route versus kind of direct to the individuals? Both have their pros and cons, but just looking to get a bit of context.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we definitely have thought about both options. And a big reason why is we've just seen like a lot of demand on the enterprise side. There's been a lot of companies that have reached out to us and say like, hey, our neurodivergent employees don't feel supported. They're quitting. They don't know what to do. And employment at the same time is a huge issue that a lot of neurodivergent people experience. So neurodivergent people are like 8 times more likely to be unemployed or underemployed compared to neurotypical people. And so by having these strategic corporate partners, we believe that we can more meaningfully improve the impact of our product. And it's also a way that helps us keep our platform financially accessible to the community members that use it, which is also a key value that we hold as an organization.
Thank you, Lianna. All right, next. Go ahead.
Can everyone see everything? Okay. Hi, I'm Alexa Child. This is my sister Jacqueline, and we're the founders of Datability. How many of you have ever looked for love? How many of you have ever looked for love online? There are 80 million adults in the United States alone who want to find love but struggle to do so. Due to discrimination and various other obstacles, disabled and chronically ill people cannot find companionship on the mainstream dating apps.
Imagine being told it would be selfish to have children because you could pass along your chronic illness. While you imagine that, I lived it. As a disabled woman, I faced so much discrimination and ableism on the mainstream dating apps, and it made me feel unworthy and unlovable. For years, I looked for a dating app to meet people like me, but nothing legitimate ever existed.
Until now, Datability is here, and it's the only dating app designed for the entire disabled and chronically ill populations, the world's largest minority. What sets Datability apart from the other dating apps, in addition to our mission, is the Datability Deets profile section, which is an extensive list of broad terms used to describe oneself, such as wheelchair user, immunocompromised, or food allergy. Datability Deets gives our users a neutral way to disclose their disability or chronic illness and significantly reduces the anxiety that they experience on the mainstream dating apps.
The market opportunity for Datability is huge. Let's talk about Grindr, the dating app that targets the LGBTQ+ community, which makes up about 7% of the US population, less than 10 million adults. Despite targeting a smaller segment of the population, Grindr has done incredible work and is valued at $2.1 billion. Datability targets the disabled and chronically ill population, which makes up 26% of the US, over 80 million adults. With an annual untapped market size of $32.4 million in the US, Datability is poised to become a multi-billion-dollar company. Since launching in October of 2022, we have organically acquired over 10,000 users, and in the past week alone, we have heard of 3 success stories. With user experience as our top priority, we have released several iterations of the platform. with new features and enhancements based on user feedback.
Our go-to-market strategy consists of grassroots marketing, press and podcast, and fly posting. We will continue to improve our SEO and implement online advertisements and billboards in major metropolitan areas. We will also attend conferences and expos, host local meetups, and collaborate with like-minded brands and social media influencers. Our revenue model mirrors that of the other dating apps. In 2024, we will implement a freemium model, although we are pre-revenue now. We will also have ads and enter into brand partnerships. And by 2025, we would like to explore AI innovations and license those out to other companies.
Datability is more than just an app. It is truly the beginning of a movement. At Datability, we believe in doing well by doing good. We're currently raising our pre-seed round, but if you're unable to contribute financially, the power lives in your voice. Spread Datability's message among your community and join us in the movement to making love accessible.
Thank you.
This is amazing. Well done. One quick question for you is competition. I mean, there are tons of apps that are out there that at least supposedly target certain communities. How hard would it be for others simply to copy what you're doing? What's the secret sauce you're bringing?
You know, I mean, building a dating app at the end of the day is just tech and engineering, right? So really anybody can create a dating app if they'd like. But what they can't copy, what they can't take is our brand, our experiences, and our story. Jacqueline, a disabled woman, has lived, you know, we are our target market. She has been on all of the dating apps and has lived through these experiences, has been discriminated against. And so we know the problem that we're trying to solve. And then I bring in, we would like to welcome and encourage non-disabled people to join as well. And I can bring in, as a non-disabled woman, that perspective.
Great job. Curious, so the success of your app could also be a negative in which you find your partner, that's amazing, the app is great, but then you lose those people. So is there anything you're thinking about in terms of retaining users, or do you feel like the market is big enough that just matching is enough?
Really, both of those. Our market is big enough that we don't feel like there'll be you know, a drop off of users, but in the near future, we do plan on creating a platform for platonic relationships as well, which does help the retention model. And frankly, the platonic relationship connection apps have never successfully been done before, and we're confident that we will be the first.
Great presentation. I think for these kind of products, brand and technology are probably the two big things that need to iterate fast. Maybe you can give me an overview of the team that's powering this.
Yes, so neither of us are in tech, so we don't handle the tech, although we do all the testing. And we designed the app from starting with pen to paper. So we have full control of what it looks like. The people who bring our vision to life, they are a consulting firm out of Boulder, Colorado, which is about 30 minutes from where we live. It's R2 Consulting, and they act for all intents and purposes as our CTO for now, but we are looking to bring the tech in-house. We are already starting that search, and so that should hopefully happen in the next couple of months. We also have two advisors to help us. One person is a disabled person, and the other one has 20 years of experience in marketing and brand partnerships.
Yeah, and as far as brand, we are making ourselves the face of Datability. We do all of our PR, which has led us to be featured in Forbes, NPR, Fast Company. And so we're really proud of what we've built with such a small but dedicated team.
And I would say that's what the other companies don't have. They've had 10 plus years to make a dating app for the disabled community. They haven't, and so we're here.
Thank you.
I'm just curious, would you ever include those maybe outside of your two target communities within the app if they're open to it? Or from the platonic phase, maybe have a brother, sibling, and just want to meet more folks and have a more inclusive network?
Absolutely. You know, we do target non-disabled people and those as well. And those people that we have seen who are non-disabled joining are exactly the people that you said, and people like Alexa who have this connection to disability and, you know, are looking just because disability doesn't scare them. And so we have about 7% of our users are non-disabled, and we'd love to see that number grow too.
What's next? What's the next big challenge you're facing in growing your market?
So right now, like we said, we're fundraising, and I think the lack of marketing budget is preventing us from really mass marketing and going truly viral. We do believe it will happen within the next year. We have great press, but we really want to expand more. And then we do want to start monetizing as soon as possible. So getting that subscription model built, bringing the tech in-house so that the tech is able to scale with us is really important.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, we have for blind. Cadieux.
I think better. I need to add him back as a presenter. There you go.
Hi.
Perfect. You're on.
Can go ahead and share a screen.
Sure. Let's. You can see. You can see my screen.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Great. So I'm a man. I have a short hair. I'm a white. I wear in white shorts and a green suit, and it's so happy to be here online. I'm in Florida in a conference where we just demonstrate our technologies. Today was the first day, and has become a day in the end. So for blind makes the product what helps us facilitate the improve and the health and well-being of the people with the visual disabilities with the help of technologies. And today you probably know, but still it's important to know that more than 1.5 Canadian are legally blind already. And every day that they benefit from the technologies like us, like what we saw today. And the market is huge and it's growing. I just say that for potential investors who've been here on that conference. So let me introduce what we developed. First, I want to show you the first device what allows the deaf-blind people talk with synthesized voice and hear other people. The second, what you can see on the picture of that device, like a tablet, like an iPad for viewing the pictures, graphic, and maps. And the third one, that's how blind people charging devices. That's some of the problem. The total sales amount for today is $300,000 already. And that's growing. And we know today the assistive technologies market is growing every year. And in just 8 years, we know it's reached more than $3 billion. And with the help of our partners, with the help of our customers, foundations, organizations, our distributors, we going very well with what we do in the sales. And what about our competitors? For communicator, just one competitor is the entrepreneur who translates for the sign language. For tablet, that guys that not the competitors doesn't met all requirements would be included in the government program. And for USB node, that's you should have to someone who tell you that your device charging or not. So our business model say, so we design devices, we produce them in Vietnam or in China. We bring here in Canada and assemble here, and we sell directly for the foundations or for the distributors. My name is Fyodor Bilamoy, and we have a great and a crazy professional team. More than 8 people are working today, including the engineers, they're blind designers, programmers. And I love it, my team. And I'm so happy that people around me, and we built so many devices for blind community together. So we needed a 386,000. That's exactly what we needed to reach the next round. And the next round will be in 18 months. And our key goal to bring a USB node to the market and complete the development of our iPad. And this is the photo will be here for answering your questions. On the first one, the Stevie Wonder, he cares about our devices. And the second, I'm in you, and in Lianna were explained how the lives of our users are changing. Thank you.
This is excellent. Thank you. Could you go a little deeper into the technology
Can you hear me?
that you bring? What is the secret sauce you're providing from a technology standpoint that is special here?
Sorry, something interrupt. Can you repeat
Let me
the
try
question?
that again. Can you go a little deeper into the technology differentiation that you're bringing to the product design here? What's your secret sauce?
Secret sauce depends the technology, is the product. So all this what we develop, it's innovative things. So we patent that. We understand. We found the huge or important problem, and we figure out how to fix it. That because we see the blind people, we work with them as a part of a team, and we just do this. I don't see the secret sauce about how the competitors cannot do that the same. They can, but we have a patent for that. The specific secret sauce, we don't have it, just brain.
Well, perhaps big brains, obviously. Perhaps just expand a little on the creative process. How do you involve your own target audience in the design of your products?
So first of all, we have more than 200 blind testers who tested our devices. Before that, our team who have a blind inside of the team, and Sergey Platin or Alex here, deaf blind. So they will test it before. When something come in my brain, I invented that. I bring them, talk with them. They give what opinion. We changed something, develop the prototype, test it with the blind testers, our little community. That's how we build it, how the process works.
Great presentation. Just curious, is there a lot of training for new users of your products?
Training, how long, how much more time do you need to understand the product?
Yes, to use the product effectively.
This is the heptabrels take around 2-3 minutes if we talk about the safe and the deafblind who have a safe intelligence. About the USB node, they got it when they just plug it in an adapter. So few minutes, that's enough.
Great presentation. I guess maybe you can give me a sense of the number of units you've sold to date. And then I'm curious in terms of how did you arrive at 3 different products? You know, was it kind of customer pull where you built one and all of a sudden they're asking for other things?
Okay, so already the heptabrel sold 15 devices, 50 devices around the world in US and Canada, in Japan, and Europe. And now we are manufacturing new part of that, new series. So it's around 100 devices will be, because we have not a lot of, but some pre-orders for that. USB Note, we sold already 15, but that's just, we have a few devices, but we have the money, our clients, they send us. And so we just work in US and Canada with that. What about the tablet? We have around 10 pre-orders. So it's around $40,000 already we have from our clients about the tablet. Yeah. So like this.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So kind. All right. Thank you, Fedor. Give it up for Fedor. And next we have GE Winnow joining us from all the way from Tunisia. I'm sharing our slides now.
Okay. I don't know what's happening because my video is on and the mic is on.
It's okay. It's okay. Do you want to just continue? I can move your slides.
Yes, please. Okay. So, hello everyone. My name is Soulaima. I am the co-founder of the Tunisian health tech startup Givener. We are revolutionizing mobility for people with physical disabilities using advanced technologies. And today, next please. Today, I want to introduce you Jamil, a Tunisian young man that we met at the Association of People with Physical Disabilities. Jamil has cerebral palsy that forced him to rely on a wheelchair to move. Unfortunately, finding the right wheelchair for him has been an ongoing struggle because Jamil cannot use his hands to pilot a wheelchair with a joystick, making him dependent on his mother for every single action. Next, please. Not only Jamil in this situation, we have 75 million people around the world that suffer from physical disabilities. So, to address the challenges of mobility and reduce dependency on caregivers, next please, we have invented Movo Brain, a smart driving system that helps physically disabled people to pilot their electric wheelchairs without physical effort, using their smartphones. Next, please. Not only that, but also they can use their voice, face grimaces, and finally they can use also their brain signals for totally disabled people. MovoBrain, next please. MovoBrain includes also a small electronic board that we integrated into the controller of the electric wheelchair. Next please. Compared to its competitors, MovoBrain is an all-in-one solution that offers tailored driving systems and minimizing hardware, and also a remote updatability that do not require any hardware changes to the wheelchair itself in the future. Next, please. We can work B2B and B2C, and our goal is to implement our solution in collaboration with wheelchair producers to upgrade their wheelchairs to be MovoBrain enabled. So the final user needs only to download the app and activate the desiring driving mode and choose between 6 months, 1 year, or a lifetime pack. Next, please. We are addressing the global powered wheelchair market. For B2B go-to-market strategy, we are now focusing on the European market. And for the B2C, we are addressing the MENA region market via distributors. Next, please. We are now currently working with B2B clients. Additionally, we've established partnerships with associations for prototype testing, and we've successfully completed the technical tests. Next, please. Currently, we are launching the test version in Tunisia, and our goal is to reach 1K users by 2024. And we will start working with San Diego State University for the US market research. And we envision scaling our user base to reach 10,000K users by 2025. Next, please. We are a complementary team with a background based on medical technologies, engineering, and business development. Altogether, we have developed MovoBrain in collaboration with people with physical disabilities. Next, please. We are now raising a pre-seed round to reach our goal for sales for the next 2 years. Thank you for your attention, and we invite you all to join us on this mission.
Thanks for the presentation. I guess one quick question is, how do you think about long-term defensibility in this space where others might come in and challenge kind of this technology?
Okay, so what we are doing is we are offering multi-solutions for people with physical disabilities, where people can use the desired driving mode according to their disabilities. And I have personally lived this problem. I have my uncle that have a physical disability, that have an accident, and then he couldn't use the electric wheelchairs. So I might say that I have witnessed the problem, and we have created the solution, and we make it a multi-solution that people can use it in the future and can do the updatability also without requiring any hardware changes.
Thank you.
Great job. I'm curious if you're collecting any data once the product is sold just on usage, so to create more of a greater validation compared to other options and really truly being a more user-friendly option.
Collecting any data?
Like mobility data, like this person now with this chair tends to do 10 times more things a day because they have the tools that allow them to do it.
Okay, for the brain signals or for the manual use to use the smartphones, there's no collecting data. Also for the voice driving mode. Also for the voice, only for the face grimaces, we are collecting here the data in order to the person be able to use the wheelchair with the face grimaces. And we are also making customized driving modes. And this is our team, like we had Sami in our team that had himself has a disability. And he told us he couldn't able to do all the face grimaces. So he helped us in this phase in order to customize for him the driving mode with face grimaces.
Perhaps this is a build on the previous question, just to help us on the mechanism from the person in the wheelchair that actually moves the wheelchair. I understand the iPhone can do the mechanics, but what's the mechanism? What does the person actually have to do to set all that process in motion?
Okay, so the person needs, so we have, it's a hardware and a software solution. The person needs only to put the small electronic boards into the joystick of the wheelchair and download the mobile app, and then choose between the 4 driving modes that we are offering. It depends on his disability. If he wants to drive the wheelchair with the voice, with the brain, with the face grimaces, or through a virtual joystick, through buttons on the screen of the wheelchair.
So just to make sure we understood that, they can drive the wheelchair with their voice or with their brain. Can you just expand on that brain one, please?
Yes, sure. For the brain, and one thing to add, the hardware and the software, they are connecting through Bluetooth between each other. So for the brain driving modes, the user put a headset, and when he concentrates, the wheelchair moves, and when he blinks his eyes, the wheelchair stops, and when he blinks his eyes again, the wheelchair turns right for 45 degrees. So we are using the signals for concentration and for the blinking eyes.
Thank you, Salima. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
And moving to our last presenter for the day, Marcel for Microcast. Let me share. Stop.
All right. Can you see it?
We can see a blurry screen. I don't know if that's intentional though.
If it's blurred, then it's intentional. Okay, then I would like to start. Hi, I'm Marcel, CEO and founder of Microcast. And we are taking the live experience of sports fans to the next level. And we are using audio. Like you can see, it is a blurred image. So let's imagine you are visually impaired, but you want to go to the game of your favorite team and go to the stadium and have the same experience like a one who can see. But it's not the same experience because you can't see. So clubs could offer some way to show something or to describe something. It's called audio description. In most cases, volunteers are describing what's going on the pitch, and visually impaired people can listen to it. I have brought some example for you.
Side, Carlo to Hall, tries it, Grizzlick scores! 1:16 to go!
Until now, you need a special hardware to offer something like this. The problem is that it's very expensive and very limiting. So you buy some special hardware and could only offer it inside the stadium for a maximum of 20 or 30 people. And it's not that big an incentive for a club to offer something like this because it's not a big target group and they say, I don't care, it's only a few people. So we need smart stadiums to become accessible for everyone. Almost 300 million people worldwide have restricted experience of enjoying live sports, like I showed. If we are looking at the market of smart stadiums, it already reached more than 10 billion in the revenue and is growing by more than 30% per year. We have developed a solution which takes out the special hardware. As a club, you only need a PC to broadcast the commentation, and as a listener, you only need a smartphone. So we have no limitations at all, and we create an incentive to bring it to everyone. So clubs could make additional revenue through this. The clubs can integrate sponsors, but also sell extra charge tickets to people who can see. So people who can see are paying for this to get a commentator on the ear inside the stadium. and visually impaired people can use it for free. So we have an incentive for the club to use it to make more money. And we get a monthly fee from the club, and growing together, the more fans are listening, the more we get from the club. We already reached more than 4.9 million user sessions, and we have one of the most prominent sports stakeholders from Europe, like the UEFA, the European Soccer Federation, and next year we will offer every game of the European Championships in several languages in parallel. We have a complementary team from software development, UI UX, and also from economics, and I was a former employee of the German Soccer Federation. Now we want to reach the Canadian market, and we are looking for people who may introduce us to some professional clubs from the Canadian market, but also we are planning a seed round next year, and we are open for first discussions about who might be interested into our technology and our software to help visually impaired, but also every fan who wants to listen to someone inside and outside the stadium. Thank you very much.
Great job. Could you further explain the IP behind your software?
Yeah, so we developed everything in-house. It's WebRTC based, so the challenge was to have it with a low latency, because if there's too much latency on the audio signal, it would be bad user experience. So if everyone's cheering inside the stadium and you get it 3 or 4 seconds later, it would be a bad experience for the visually impaired. So the challenge was to bring it down. So we didn't develop it completely new. It was more looking into which technology we could use. For example, WebRTC is used by Discord, for example, and other companies. So it was more about collecting different puzzle things to put it together and make it accessible for everyone.
Maybe just expand on the user experience. So how is it actually, how are things actually working that user experience is improved? Maybe go perhaps even a little bit deeper on the technology.
Yeah. So like I said, you can use your own smartphone. So you bring your own smartphone to the stadium. Right now it was that you have to loan some special hardware inside the stadium. And as visually impaired, if you get some hardware you don't know, you are concerned about it, maybe it's not working and so on. But the smartphone, you know already. So you bring your own smartphone, you bring your own headset or headphones, and then you are connecting to the stream or the broadcast, and then you can listen to it. And even, for example, UEFA is offering different languages in parallel, so you could choose between the English and the French commentation, and then you have the best way to follow the game in your native language with emotions.
Maybe you can elaborate a bit on the product for me. Like, I think the parallel that comes to mind for me is I'll listen to like the radio sports commentator about a baseball game while sitting at the game. And so what's different here?
Yeah, so visually impaired need more information, more in a descriptive way. If you have a colorcast commentator from NFL or ice hockey and so on, there are missing information. So you need positions, you need who's getting the ball and so on. So you need more information which is describing. So audio description is about in more detail. It's not telling stories of the past. It's more about on the game, to tell what's going on the game.
Thank you, Marcel. Thank you for joining us. And that was the last of the pitches. While I put up the next thing on the screen, I would love for the judges to just share a couple of quick thoughts on what they thought of the pitches in general and overall. If you can share some quick thoughts on what you thought of the pitches, any general overarching comments, please go ahead.
Really great job for explaining something in a handful of minutes. Usually these types of introductions are done in 30 minutes, so well done to everyone. I also just thought there was very strong communication across all presenters in terms of the problem, the solution, and the market. So really, really well done on that.
I feel like there was a program that prepped you for our questions because they were all pretty spot on answers.
I just like to say how inspiring I found the founders there. Beyond being a VC H-Tech Capital, I'm also on the disability rights division of Human Rights Watch, and do a lot of work worldwide on improving human rights for people with disabilities. And it's just extraordinary to see such magic. I mean, real creativity and real leadership and energy that you're bringing to this. It truly will change the world. So bravo to all of you.
So, if you can take your seats, Sydney will share just a small note of thanks from us. Thank you. And you can pass on your scoring cards to Sydney. And folks, as I said, well, I did say that this is a group effort, so I would like to invite all of you to please vote for your favorite startups. You can scan the QR code on the screen or use the link that's displayed on the screen. I believe Teresa should have also dropped this link in the chat by now. Go ahead, please. And in the meantime, my team will tally up the total scores. As you think this through, I would like to invite a dear friend of mine and a great supporter of Access to Success, Nikki Ramesh. Nikki is the Senior Manager of Product Accessibility and Equity at CIBC. She leads CIBC's accessibility efforts to provide delightful and inclusive online experiences for users with disabilities. Nikki?
You, Varun. I'm here to tell many embarrassing stories about you. So for those of you who don't know, hi, I'm Nikki Ramesh. As Varun mentioned, I work at the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. I'm a South Asian woman. I'm dark-skinned in my 30s. What you may not know is I'm also a co-founder of Access to Success. So Varun, myself, and two other co-founders, we were all from University of Toronto. We were holed up in a study room trying to figure out how do we support and create opportunities for upcoming leaders with a disability. I say this because we're all a part of an ecosystem. I'm here today as very privileged to be a sponsor of this event, but I'm also a beneficiary of Access to Success. And every one of us here have a role to play. You can come work with us as potential employees, as suppliers. I think a lot of the startups who presented today could be potential suppliers for a lot of big organizations, including things like CIBC. This year, we launched our first accessibility plan, which was a pretty major milestone. And a big pillar of that is how can we better reflect disability in our storytelling for our employees and also in our services. So yeah, come hound me after if you want to be in the media, as Stephanie called out earlier, or if you want to come work with us, or if you just want really embarrassing stories about Varun. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll need a couple minutes as we tally up the scores. So in the meantime, I would like to remind everybody to please vote for your favorite startups. And now I also want to invite the room here to share any thoughts or questions before we wrap up for the day, before we share the winners of today's demo day. Anybody want to share any thoughts, questions, or anything for the group here? General thoughts or questions? Okay, I see a couple of hands.
I just wanted to thank you. We had a pre-pitch a couple of weeks ago, and I absolutely bombed it, like dropped the bomb badly. And Varun gave us the opportunity to improve and to learn from that, and encouraged us to access our network and make changes. And our entire pitch and focus changed because of this opportunity. So regardless of how today goes, it's a win for us. And I can't thank you enough. It's made a huge difference to our company. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. See you one more.
I have another shameless plug for Varun and ATS Labs. I was part of the cohort last year. We were involved in 5 or 6 different accelerators, and ATS Labs is among the best. If there's anybody in this room who can support ATS Labs so we can help support more accessibility startups, please do, because their programming is amazing.
That's not what I expected when I asked for that, but I'll take it. Last one from Sarah. I think I saw a hand from there.
Not a big public speaker. On the VC perspective, I was a founder before a VC, pitching a very female-focused problem to mostly men on the other side of Zoom, and so understand the challenge of the other side putting themselves in your shoes when not always can they relate to it. So my advice would be to, one, maybe that's not the investor for you, which is part of it. The second, not every great business needs to be a venture-backed business. And the third is talk to other founders that have raised money from VCs in that space or for a very niche product, for instance, a female-focused business or whatever, in which they might have experienced the same challenges as you. A company that comes to mind is Fable, which is a Toronto company in the disability space as well.
Very much so. One quick thing I want to share with you is that we're not done for the year. We're about done for the event soon, but we're not done for the year. We have an event coming up on December 12th as our partnership with CIBC, where we're going to talk about how disability-led businesses and disability-related businesses that are working in the accessibility space can work with CIBC Radio Canada. So feel free to sign up using the QR code on the screen, or you can use the link in the screen. And next I'm going to ask Teresa to go ahead and share her screen and tell us who the winner of the $1,000 People's Choice Award is today.
That was quick adding. Can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
Can we all get a drum roll, please? Okay.
And the winner is Microcast. Marcel, you want to come on video for a second? Congratulations, Marcel, on winning the Popular Choice Award. What time is it over there in Germany?
11 p.m.
Hey, now you can go to sleep happily. Congratulations.
I don't think so.
Can I
My
get a
baby
picture?
will wake up in a few minutes.
All right, now let me see if somebody can find my colleagues and see who the winner, the top two winners are.